All right. Hi. Welcome to Adventures in Lollygagging. Hi, that's us. If you're in the chat channel watching this live, hi. Thank you for joining us. We're playing a new game tonight. If you're watching this later on YouTube or on VOD, on Twitch, thanks for thinking of us. We are here to butcher yet another RPG's rule systems. So the game we're playing tonight is called Electric Bastionland. It's a game I backed on Kickstarter a little while ago. It is a game with fairly rules light. It's set, like if you want to think about in terms of theme or genre, it's like post-industrial, early 20th century, a little bit of sci-fi, a little bit of fantasy, that kind of stuff going on. A lot of flexibility to how it plays. These people they play in various games that we do podcasts and streams for. They have not read the rules at all, so they are starting completely blind. I have read them, but I have already forgotten them. So I will do my best to teach them as we go. So we'll plug a few things. We do a couple different shows. Mondays, Melissa and I play in a game called Heart, The City Beneath. You can catch it on our channel at 7 Pacific, 9 Central. It's a horror dungeon delving game. Fantastic game. We also drop a podcast for Zweihander called Adventures in Lollygagging that you can search for wherever you get podcasts. Also drops on Monday. Justin and I, the guy down there, he and I do a little talk show that drops podcasts on Wednesday. We talk about all sorts of different things, from comics to games, movies to TV. I'm one of your hosts, Jeff. And then he's the other one, Justin. And then Long over here, Ashley, and then Melissa down there, and Justin, everyone but Derek. Derek, leave. We play in another Zweihander game over on Thursdays on twitch.tv/ZweihanderRPG. So come find the stuff that we do if you like what we do. If you don't like what we do, then yeah, you probably don't want to watch other things because it's pretty much the same stuff. So Electric Bastionland. We're going to be doing this on Roll20. I've set some stuff up, some macros to make it easier. It's already a relatively easy game. It's a game that doesn't require a ton of rolls, which is fantastic, especially for folks like Derek who can't roll and who are touched by the devil or something, which is going to be great.
The devil.
The cool thing, one of the
devil of dice rolls, anyway.
I was about to say what?
Yes, I thought about clipping a scene from one of our Mutant Year Zero games where Derek was just like, "I'm going to quit the campaign," and I was just going to have that loop over and over and over again, and maybe I'll still do that. But not a whole lot of dice rolls, and we're going to be doing a kind of a city-based adventure. It's a 2-hour show, so, or give or take. So it's not going to be like, it's probably not going to give you the full breadth of everything we can do, because there's different locations. There's Bastion, which is the city, which is a sprawling metropolis of crazy modernity with all sorts of weird science fiction elements to it. Aliens and machines and weird stuff, and these things called mockeries, which are like little toys and like puppets and stuff that have sentience, which is fantastic. There's Deep Country, which is more, it's like kind of going away, as far away from Bastion as you possibly can. There's the Underground, where you can potentially explore, which is where machines do all sorts of crazy things. And then there's the Living Stars, which possibly aliens come from and people are trying to go to. But we're going to be in Bastion, and we're going to be doing a little adventure. Now, the game has basically 3 stats: strength, dex, and charisma. And they mean the same types of things that you would expect them to mean from all the other games that we all have played. There's also HP, but in here it's called hit protection, not hit points. But it's the same functional concept. And then there's also money or pounds. These are all going to be randomly generated by you. And then based upon what you roll, we consult a matrix that's going to randomly assign you, not randomly, but corresponding to your stats, your specific character career or failed career. This game is about people who failed at their careers, fell into debt, and now are trying to seek treasure to pay off that debt. Now, before we do that, because we're going to do this one at a time so we can have some order to it, who's the youngest amongst you? Definitely not Melissa and I. Definitely not Justin.
Probably
Derek,
Long. It's probably me. I'm.
Is your
26.
birthday before or after mine? You're 93? I think it's you.
Yes.
Yeah, it's you.
Okay, so Long.
I remember 93. God damn it.
Me too. I remember it. It's a good year.
I remember 93.
Yeah. How old are
me
you?
too.
How old are you, Derek?
I was born
Hey,
in
Chris.
92. So 28.
Okay, so you're older than. Okay, so it is Long. So Long is the youngest, which makes sense. Look at him. Look at that face. Look at Adorable. Ever since he cut his hair and shaved his beard, he looks like he's 12. Before that, he looked like he was 14. All right. So Long, you are going to whatever failed career you roll up. All of the failed careers at the bottom of one of the pages has like a debt holder, and it's like who specifically holds the group's debt, because all of you are kind of working together. You have a shared debt of £10,000 that you have to pay off, and whoever is the youngest is who the debt holder is going to be. And so we're going to look at that when we get to Long. So we're going to save Long for last. We're going to start with Ashley. I'm going to work our way around. So I made this super easy. There is a character creation macro in Roll20. If you just want to pop that for us there, Ashley.
Okay, I'm just gonna get my token.
Okay, so then Ashley, you can go ahead and start punching those into your attributes to make it easier. So strength, dex, charisma, pounds is money, and then hit protection is HP. So you're kind of middle of the road on all of them, which isn't so bad. So the way we determine your starting or your failed career, I should say, is we look at the lowest attribute score, and that's going to be dexterity. So that's 9. And then we cross-reference it on the chart with the highest ability score, which is 11. So your career is 22. So if you look at the PDF I sent you, if you look at the list of failed careers, you want to turn to 22. So we can all kind of read this together. This is fun. Makes it
Page
easy.
22?
No, not page 22, career 22. So it's on page 64 or 66 of the PDF, 64 of the book. You are an unrevolutionary. Every day, another revolution, another barricade. Civil flow design demands that somebody put things back in order. So this is your failed career. Okay.
Oh, never mind. I was going to say, it sounds like you're a part of the band Muse, but if you failed, maybe not.
Now, if you scroll down to the next page, you'll see that there is a list of things that you get. So you specifically get a 5-point hat and a broom. So you can go ahead and put that in your write it down somewhere, put it in somewhere in that character window for Roll20, whatever you want. Think very careful about these things, because don't just like dismiss them. We do that sometimes with Zweihan or a couple of other games where we have like stuff in our inventory. Don't. These things can actually be creatively used to do certain things later on. Now, the next thing we do is we figure out what you brought from home, and that's based upon how much money that you rolled. And you rolled a fancy old 6. That's all in a D6, so you rolled max.
Yep.
So
Fantastic sandwich.
So you brought a fantastic sandwich in a ridiculously sturdy lunchbox.
Okay.
Okay. And then the last thing we look at for you is what helped you break up barricades. And this is based upon the HP that you rolled, which is 4.
4.
So you get 3 toxic smoke bombs.
Okay.
D6 blast and smoke cloud. Ongoing damage each turn for anyone that stays within. Blast just means AoE. That's all it means.
Okay.
Area of effect. Very useful, actually. Very useful against multiple enemies.
Nice.
So, Ashley is done. Start thinking about a name so I can update the chart afterwards. All right, Derek, you're up next, I believe.
Oh, boy.
Go
All
ahead.
right, here we go.
Let's see these 3s. Oh! You're so cursed. It's amazing. Look at those terrible rolls. Look at those.
That's a 1. That's
You
a
rolled
1. That's a 1.
Oh, God.
How's that possible?
You're just the worst.
If it can happen, it will happen.
I'll say this, though. The way this game works is to somewhat offer some semblance of balance. Not that balance is a major issue, but like if you roll really bad scores, you tend to get better items. If you roll really good scores, you tend to not get as good of items. So it kind of, there's a little bit to that. Don't worry really about the scores too much either, because there's lots of other things you can do. All right, so we got lowest is 7, which is strength, and then dexterity is 9, and so you are 5. So that shouldn't be too hard. So let's scroll back up to 5 and take a look at what you are. So again, this is
Gosh.
I'm the Dead-Shoresman. Lovely.
Oh my god.
you died, but you found a way back from where you went. Nobody believes you, and everyone you once knew is long gone.
Wonderful.
There's sample names. You can take them if you want, but you don't have to. Okay, and then you get a flint pistol. Like I said, better items. You get a flint pistol, which is a D8 weapon. You get a broken ore, also a weapon, D6. And you have cold blood. I don't know how that's going to come into play, but I like it. So go ahead and punch in like your weapons, your D8, like put in your 8, put in your 6, etc.
Hopefully it doesn't get too warm. He might just fall asleep on us.
Okay, good. All right, so then what you barely remember about your background is based upon the money that you rolled, which is 4. You remember high society. You were apparently wealthy and schooled in etiquette before your death.
You were a snob with a fancy old gun.
Yep. And then
Everyone I know died.
And then what did you bring back from the dead place? You brought
Hell spice.
spice.
Why'd you have to say the devil comment earlier? This is weird now.
It is getting kind of weird. Extremely concentrated powdered hot spice. Even a small dose causes stomach upset and mild hallucination. The whole pouch causes a day-long delirious trip. Okay, so that is Derek's character. All right, so think of a name. Again, there's suggested names if you want to take a sample name, but you come up with yourselves. And once everyone's ready to go, you guys will stall for like a minute, and I'll punch the names into the overlay. After this is Justin. Go ahead and hit yours, Justin. Justin, much better stats. Look at those green rolls. Look at those 6s. Look at this.
You're going to get like a tissue or something for your equipment.
All right, so Justin's 13, so it's 12 plus for the, 13 for highest, and then 11 for lowest. That's 43. So let's go ahead and turn to 43 in the PDF. Let's see. Too far, Jeff. Some of these, by the way, I'm not sure if 43 is one of them, but okay.
I'm the academic debater.
That's so far from what Justin is. Somebody must argue that the positions that nobody cares about. You were that somebody, Justin. Okay, so then, it's fantastic. It's so funny because in our heart campaign started literally with, and one of the main places was a place where constant, unending debate was supposed to take place. All right, you get a cane, so that's a D6 weapon, and a pocket watch. Very nice. Then, what can you debate forever? And the question for you is food history.
Food history.
That's perfect. I think actually Justin can do this pretty well.
Not people really know the history of a sandwich.
So Justin, you need to go ahead and do this right now. Put you on the spot. Choose an ingredient that you can never resist.
I'll say mayonnaise.
Mayonnaise. Okay, excellent choice. Disgusting, but excellent choice. Okay, and then what did your university provide as a leaving gift? You got a tiny mechanical steel butterfly which obeys any commands, but has all the limits and fragility of a normal butterfly. So that is your item. Again, be creative about how you try to use these things later. Okay, so we're good with that. And then who is next? Ashley, go ahead.
Oh, I already went.
Oh, Ashley already went? Melissa, sorry, my bad. Holy crap, Derek, look at those stats. Look at those stats she got right there. We thought Justin was good.
Yeah, rub it in.
Yep. Okay, so Melissa's lowest is 12 plus, and then her highest is 16. So that's 74. Wow, that's really far down there. All right, let's see. 74 is a master blender. Some sensory gift allows you to rapidly reach a lofty position. Prestigious within your trade, worth nothing outside. You are a master blender, and the picture is a person stirring something in a giant vat. Look at the elephant. You see the elephant?
Just change your name to Vitamix.
There you go. I like it. Okay, you get a stirring oar. There's 2 people with oars. Look at this. Except yours is D6 and bulky.
Okay.
Bulky means
mine is broken.
But yours you can still use. You can probably stab you with it. Bulky means you have to use 2 hands. Okay. If you ever have 2 bulky items, I think it's 2 bulky. Might be more than 2. I'll double check later. You actually your hit protection is reduced to 0, so you want to be careful how much bulky stuff. But you're just got the 1. Okay. Who did you blend for? You blended for the condimentary. You
Take
get
a bottle of fish sauce.
you get a bottle of fish sauce. Fantastic. Okay, and then what went wrong? A machine took your job. So take a human union member badge. And here is the
Oh.
strangest thing. The human union is part of this little adventure I wrote. Small part, but a part nonetheless. Interesting. Okay, so machine took your job. And then finally we get to the man of the hour. The man,
Your job.
the myth. I know, I was thinking the same thing. The
Yeah, me too.
legend, Longley, the youngest member. Go ahead and roll on.
All right, let's see it.
Okay, little all over the place. Little all over the place, but I like it. That's good. You got a high dex, low strength. Okay, so we got lowest ability is a 9, highest is a 14. So it looks like 51. Let's take a look at 51 here. None of you got like to choose. A few of these have like choices, but I don't think anyone got them. Oh, here we go. All right, so you are a front of house host. You are the face of a company. Now you're a face without a company. That's kind of sad. Okay. So we'll come back to the debt thing in a second. You get a knife, so D6 weapon, and an apple as you're starting it.
Nice.
Okay, then your employer. When it's asked who is your employer is a day spa. So you used to be the front of the house for a day spa, and you get to take a flattering mirror. So put that in your equipment. And then what made you memorable? You resemble a local celebrity entertainer. So that is yours. Now, I like how 6 was a ridiculous haircut, but nope, you got the other one. All right, so if you guys are following along the PDF, it's okay if you're not. But you'll see that at the bottom of the front of house host and all of the other classes, you can see that if you are the youngest player, which Long is, the whole group is 10k in debt to Slugburn Pest Control. So take a very large pack of slug pellets. So that's who. So I'm going to go and write that down. Not that it's going to necessarily play a huge role in tonight's, but maybe in future. We'll see. I'll see how it goes. Slugburn Pest Control. Okay. Now,
Hey Jeff, real quick.
Yeah.
On the attribute sheet, I have 2 rows named Wep 1, Wep 2. I'm assuming you put the corresponding dice value in there.
Just the number. Don't put the D in. Just put the number in.
Right. Okay.
Okay. And it'll automatically, like when you hit the weapon 1, weapon 2 macros, it'll roll for you. Totally unnecessary, but it just makes it display a little bit better on stream, but doesn't have to. Okay, so in addition to you guys having the items that you have, the whole group, the whole party, gets a couple other things. You get like lanterns and stuff like that. So like you have there's certain items and things that you automatically have, so you don't have to really worry about those things. All of that is kind of listed on the, I want to say the rules, either the rules summary or something like that. But you can kind of take a look at those things as well. Now, in general, strength has to do with power and toughness. Dex has to do with quickness and precision. Charisma has to do with charm and confidence. Charisma is kind of like how people react to you. Dexterity is your ability to do things quickly, stealthily, or avoid stuff. Strength not only is about power and toughness, but is also partially correspondent to your health. So you have hit protection. So the way this works is if you take damage, you take it first off your hit protection. Okay, and if your hit protection is ever depleted and there's leftover damage, then you take it off your strength. If your strength ever reaches 0, you're dead. If you ever take strength damage, you have to roll a strength save, to see if you take critical damage. So basically like getting a terrible injury. And if you do take an injury, if you fail that save, what that means is that you're basically out of the fight and somebody has to attend to you afterwards because you're kind of in the process of dying, in a way. Something like that. Dex and charisma, it's really just, Dex could lead to you possibly, sometimes it's used for initiative in situations where initiative isn't obvious. I might have you, I might just be like, I don't know if you got the jump on them, or this is really surprising. Let's see if you reacted quickly enough. That kind of stuff. So what I need you all to do right now, if you could please, is first of all, you're going to give me your names, and then you're going to stall while I update this wonderful little character or overlay that we have. So what did you come up with, Ashley, for your name for your character?
I picked one of the generated ones. I'm Miss Chuffwack.
Miss, how do you spell that?
Cuffwhack.
Hack. All right, got it. All right, then we've got Derek. What'd you come up with?
I just put Douglas because it's a sailor / fancy name.
Okay. All right, Justin.
My name is Dieter Horsendorfen.
I'm gonna just put Dieter because I don't have room for Horsendorfen.
Okay, I see.
Okay. What was your class again? Your failed career, Justin?
I am unter academic debater.
What?
Academic debater.
Like
just
Ruben.
open your ears.
I'm
My name is Ruben.
I'm
My
sorry.
name is not Dieter. It is Ruben.
I'm
It's
sorry,
Ruben, never mind.
anybody from Central Europe, Germans, Austrians, Swiss.
It's not Dieter. It's Ruben Horsendorfen. Change it to Ruben.
All right, Melissa, what's yours?
Mine is Vilta Maxwell.
Oh God, I'm just gonna put Vilta. Vilte.
Vilta.
Okay.
Maxwell.
I don't have room for Maxwell.
That's fine.
It's okay. We don't remember last names anyway. All right, Long. What do you got?
They call me Simo.
Simo.
Yep.
Okay.
Emo what?
Simo.
Just Simo.
All right.
See more with these nuts.
Why do you do that? You're just so childish. I apologize. I apologize for Justin. Okay, so go ahead and stall while I fix the overlay for us really quick. Talk about yourselves. Talk about your characters.
Talk amongst yourselves.
So
Yeah, we
Okay.
definitely have some interesting dynamics here. I'm not sure how it's going to play out.
figure out another thing you guys can figure out while I'm doing this is you can figure out, do you want to, like, it's not gonna be like a huge thing, but like do you want to be like unknown to one another, like, or is this like your first job, that kind of stuff together? You do things like that if you want.
I think we should know each other.
Always makes it a little bit easier.
Yeah, we were just come
Sure.
in and know each other because we
Yeah.
have all this debt. Be like, yeah.
I don't know how helpful I am. I have 1 oar, fish oil, and a badge.
Look,
You gotta get creative, you know?
fish oil's like the
And
good
3
fat.
pounds.
Who's got the poison? Didn't someone get poison or something?
I
Or
already
no,
got spice.
Toxic bombs.
Smoke
Toxic
bombs.
Okay.
And Derek got like spice that can be either trippy or do some damage in a small dose.
All right.
I'm a janitor, basically. I have a broom. I got the hat.
Do you know who else was a janitor? The Toxic Avenger. And he did stuff heroically. All right. Let's see if I actually got this working. There we go. I had to change the font size for Ashley and her Mrs. Chuffwack. Okay.
I'm sorry.
No, it's all good. It's all good. All right. Is everyone ready to go? Do we kind of, any questions before we get started? Got your characters ready to go?
I'm excited to see where you drop us at.
I am too, because I really didn't pay attention too much. So I just sort of rolled some dice and okay. All right, here we go. And again, remember, we are in a big metropolis, a sprawling metropolis. It makes very little sense. There's cosmopolitan, there's mockeries, there's machines, there's aliens, there's people, there's elephants just walking around watching people stir giant vats. There's all of these things. So, this is what you know. You have received a lead from one of your many contacts that a prominent artist named M. Balmy has died, but their death has not yet been publicly announced. The lead suggests that their known to be bizarre home is filled with numerous unreleased pieces that will certainly skyrocket in price once their death is made known. And the most cherished of those pieces is rumored to be within a sealed vault somewhere on the premises of their property. M. Balmy has been out of the public eye for decades, so no one has seen nor heard from this person. They have lived in an apartment building in the Painted Tongues Borough of Bastion and the building itself has slowly collapsed inward on itself over the course of several years, as entire floors and wings and apartments have been slowly purchased by M. Balmy and removed so that the artist can better refine and enhance their reclusiveness. The artist owns the entire building, and there are no other known tenants. So that's the basic premise. So you're a 10K in debt to the Slugburn Pest Control. And you don't want to screw with pest control people. They have access to a lot of poisons and bugs. And bugs are a great way of getting rid of bodies. So while this job might not result in you getting rid of all of your debt, it certainly could get rid, depending upon what you're able to get from this job, what you're able to kind of steal out of the premises of this recently deceased artist. You might be able to get rid of a significant chunk of your debt. So any questions on the basic premise? There's more to it, but that's just the basic premise. Okay. Assume that your silence means no. So the adventure begins then. This is where you guys are at. On the corner of Brad Hat and Sputtle, just before dark, deep in the Painted Tongues Borough. Postmodern futurists line the streets performing scenes from plays not yet written, while human unionists throw bricks at an unbothered flock of pigeons that are harassing their construction site down the street. The apartment of M. Balmy looms in the near distance down Sputtle, bordering the construction site on the east and a condemned building on the west that's said to be overrun with zealous bohemian squatters that are devoted to their craft. As you stand on this street corner, you see people passing by on various shapes of bicycle and tricycle and quadricycle. You see people performing small little street plays. You see not just people, but mockeries on various soapboxes and dumpsters and turned over fruit crates. And you see this construction site where a bunch of men and women dressed in identical clothing and dirty hats are throwing bricks at these pigeons that are flying around. When you look down the street, you see the apartment building. You see a construction site to one side with a large crane. You see a building to the left that is said to be filled with crazy bohemians. And then you see in the center the apartment building of M. Balmy. When you approach it, and you get a little closer, you can see that there is about a 20-foot tall fence that's surrounding it. And if you would believe it, a moat, this canal moat that's weaving in this weird circuitous manner all over the grounds underneath the apartment buildings, because they are in fact on stilts, as if parts of the first and second floor were removed at some point during the intense desire to be more reclusive. When you look up at this strange towering building, it looks like a partially collapsed Jenga tower with different holes and chunks where apartments should be. Entire sides of the building disappeared, and certain floors seeming to be crooked on 45 and 30 degree angles. What would you all like to do?
So first, Vilta is throwing bricks as we walk down the road. She's joining her human union brethren and chucking bricks in that direction. So
you head over to the actual construction site. You can see that there's a bunch of these folks there's a good swarm of about 40 or 50 pigeons that are swarming around. Everyone's picking up bricks and throwing them. You pick one up and throw it as well. They look cautiously at you at first, but when they see your behavior, they seem to allow it, but they still look somewhat suspiciously. You can hear...
I sort of open my coat, and so like in the coat you see kind of the patch, so like it's not like outwardly visible, but it's definitely there, so if I ever need to kind of show anybody.
So they give you...
I belong.
One of them will say it, a foreman of some kind, gives you a little tip of the cap. Sorry, ma'am, we thought you might be with management. They sent these pigeons here to disrupt the work, and they won't listen to the specific demands that we have before we head back to work. And so they proceed to explain to you that they have been on strike, and they refuse to work, and that these pigeons have been sent by management to harass them into working.
Let me check my... Do I have
you mean by
anything...
pigeons? They're actual pigeons?
Actual pigeons. They might look like actual pigeons to you, sir, but I can tell you with great certainty they have been trained and controlled by management, and they are here to ensure that we don't get the things that we have demanded.
So as I'm chucking bricks in their direction, I want to see if there's anything about their takeoffs that makes me think that they are, in fact, not regular old pigeons.
You look very closely, and I would say because of your failed career, you might be more likely to side with the conclusions that they've come to. The rest of you, however, they're just regular pigeons.
Enough of that, Velta. You're gonna break a nail.
They're screwing with them. You see how they come back? Like you throw a brick and it looks like it goes away and it comes right back. Like this is a problem.
You tell
we
it,
should
sister.
be doing something about this.
That's right, we should, and that's why it was striking. That's right, and where we put them picket signs?
And they're looking around, and the picket signs are nowhere there.
I thought someone was supposed to bring the picket signs.
Did you say there's like crumbs where the birds are congregated on the ground?
It's mostly an empty, dirt-covered construction site. There's some weeds and stuff here and there, and trash. There could be crumbs in there. It's possible that they've been recently eating.
Miss Chuffick's gonna come through with her broom and just sweep through the birds and start cleaning up.
Okay, you could swing a little harder and hit him. Don't give him any mercy.
And she's just gonna sweep up the trash and just keep going.
And as you're kind of moving through, they're all kind of looking at you perplexed and strange, but they seem to be convinced perhaps that you're helping. You can see that towards the back of this construction site, there is a large crane chained up, currently not in use. But you can see that it's that the actual the kind of the risen part of the arm goes up quite high into the air, and it's hanging a good 30 to 50 feet above the electrified fence of the Balmy property.
No one is manning this crane?
Nobody. Everybody is currently talking, and they're like talking about their various demands.
They're saying better conditions, better pay, and well, I ain't gonna do nothing.
And then one of them points out that you're working, Miss Shepard.
Aye. Listen, you scab. You nubwit. No working on the premises. Get away from there.
As they start to realize what exactly you're doing. And you can see like a few of them begin brandishing bricks as if they're getting ready to throw them. Like,
you better stop it. You don't make me throw this at you.
I'm just trying to get them to congregate a little bit better.
I'm gonna congregate this brick right into your face if you don't quit working. You scab, you.
So at this point, Velta is gonna kind of get in the middle of this. Velta is gonna kind of get in the middle of this. And just say like, she's just here to help out. If you're gonna threaten her, I'm gone.
Then you can get going too. Out with you. Go.
So I'll just, kind of encourage Miss Chufflewick to.
And she's a more portly little woman.
Okay.
And so she'll start waddling.
Okay.
And she'll look back at you at the group, and she'll be like, "You're filthy, all of you, disgusting."
Not as filthy as them pigeons and that management she worked for. Better conditions, better pay. Better conditions,
Obviously.
Better pay, and no pigeons.
And everyone starts like a mantra.
Better conditions, no pigeons. Better pay, no pigeons. Better pigeons, no positions. Oh, God.
And they all seem to be struggling to figure it out. But you have stepped away as they're continuing, and you're back onto the street. What are you doing now?
What construction work was going on there?
You didn't see any.
Okay.
Like you see no building materials. You see no signage to suggest a company has work. You saw workers. You saw unionists on strike. You saw crane, but that's it.
They do have a crane though that's hanging over the wall.
It is indeed. When you're standing out on the street, you can see this. You can see the big old, tall, awkwardly shaped apartment. No clear way inside. The fence goes all the way around, and as you're closer, you can see that it appears to be electrified. There are canals that you can see through this fence that are dark water, and there are shapes that seem to be swimming around in it, suggesting something, perhaps guarding a moat of some kind. There's no floor. There's no first floor. There's no second floor. There's stilts covering them both. You have to somehow get into that building, and you have one potential solution. When you look off to the left a bit, you can see that there is that other building condemned and looks to be on the verge of collapse itself. That is none the worse for wear. Has all sorts of graffiti. You can see that there are various clotheslines that are coming out of some of the windows that seem to move in the direction of the apartment of the Balmy property. But instead of being tied off like to the next apartment, they're tied off more to like telephone poles and electrical poles and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
But they're relative distance. And they also, you can notice on the left side of the building that there is this awkward slant of one of the buildings of the Balmy house that, doing some geometry, as Justin does so well, there is a potential to maybe get into one of those rooms in the dilapidated, condemned building and maybe swing or hop your way over dangerously so.
Well, it doesn't look like it gets much visitors.
And I have an idea. I'm going to take my butterfly.
Okay.
And I'm going to tell it to go into the mob and buzz around their head and distract them and kind of pull their attention away from the crane, because if they are as, I guess, paranoid that these pigeons are from management, they might think that the butterfly is from management there to distract them as well. So
okay.
I'm going to send out my butterfly to buzz around them, give them a hard time, and then kind of pull their attention in the opposite direction so we can head towards the crane.
Okay. So you shoot this butterfly in. That is a normal size butterfly that has all the fragility of a normal butterfly. You send it over in the direction of this group that have bricks that have been throwing at pigeons that are flying around.
It's agile butterfly.
It's a butterfly.
And Justin, go ahead and roll a d20 for me really quick, just a regular d20, and let's see how you do. And you can see that a few of the members start swatting away, like, "Hey, what's this butterfly here? What's this? A supervisor for the pigeons?" And then all of a sudden, the flock of pigeons swoops down, and you can see one of them just grasp your butterfly and just starts to fly off with it.
And I made a mistake.
But they all seem to start chasing after. Hey, I look at that butterfly. It took the butterfly. Maybe he wasn't management. Maybe he was our supervisor. And they start like moving off to one side of this large construction site, leaving a little bit of a path, if you like, to try to make it over.
Let's make our way towards it.
Okay.
The
Derek,
distraction
are you cool
has
with
been
this?
set.
Derek looks scared.
So you head over to the crane, and you can see that there's all sorts of machinery in it. There's different levers and turns and stuff. There's a door that goes into the cab, but that door is chained with a padlock. You look around. There's plenty of bricks around the place.
Does anyone have any items that could be used for it? Or
I could shoot the lock with my flintlock pistol, but that's going to be pretty loud. I guess not any more loud than hitting it with a brick.
I think a gunshot's probably slightly louder than brick on metal, maybe.
Okay.
Happy to hit it with a brick too. I mean, both are going to be loud.
I am relatively strong, actually. So I can give it a whack with a brick.
Okay.
See what happens.
Roll a d6. Just for funsies. Just random chaos. Okay. And one shot. You take the brick. Easy peasy. You grab it. Smash. And you can see that the padlock, which must have been rusted, of course, some of you must be thinking, as it breaks apart, collapses to the ground, and you go ahead, Vilta, and you start pulling the chains away, and the cab is open, and the people who are chasing after the butterfly that's being eaten by the pigeons are none the wiser. You look inside. There's a little comfortable seat with some plushy ripped leather and springs and cushions coming out, and all sorts of those different levers and such. What's the plan?
Can anyone operate?
I can't debate with it, so
Derek, what was your career again?
I died.
Wait, you were like a bureaucrat.
You're a shoresman, right? Undead shoresman or something?
Yeah, I died and came back, and no one believes me.
You have cold blood. You're a reptile, just like Tchaikovsky in our Mutineers.
That explains the rules.
Okay. Anybody can try to operate. It's fine.
All I know is I want somebody to just. I'm gonna hold one side of the crane, and then somebody else can hold like the other hook, and then just lift us and drop us over.
Okay. How does the person doing the driving then get over?
They can climb.
Okay.
And jump into the water with the threatening.
Okay. Just remember, when you're looking at this building, this Balmy house, you see there's no first floor, there's no second floor. It's just sitting on stilts. When you look closely, because you're very close now, you don't see any windows, and you see no doors anywhere. Not even like not even like they're covered up. None. All of it is like brick or stucco.
So maybe we need to get out, just either on the roof or use the crane to just bust open side of the building.
There's no wrecking ball. There's no wrecking ball. It's just.
Let's not shoot the padlock because that would be too loud. You said.
Yeah, it's just a hook. Okay.
So, but we could extend the crane so that maybe we could get higher up on the building.
Sure. Yeah, one of you can operate it.
All right.
Oh, and then just like climb across or whatever.
I'm sure this is just like a manicure. Let me take a whack at it.
Okay. So you hop inside and you start moving it around. Roll a d6. So d6 is like I'm doing luck tables basically. So 6 is usually, there's different. I have different numbers for the results and everything. 5 isn't so bad.
5.
Yeah, you're able to make it work relatively effectively. I think I'm doing it backwards actually. I probably should be doing it ones now that I think about it. Lower is better in this game, so I probably should have reversed that. My bad. Next time. But anyway, you're able to move it over without too much difficulty. However, getting it to stop proves more challenging as you swing a little bit too much. And when you finally stop, the crane stops from actually hitting the apartment itself. But then you see the chain and the heavy metal hook just swing over right into the Balmy house, and you can see all sorts of bricks and stuff begin to fall as a bit have been crumbled. However, no hole has been formed. You can see that behind one layer of brick, there is yet another brick wall. But you can see that the very tip top of the crane has now reached the top of the roof and is hovering over top of it. At this point, you hear behind, "Oi! Go away from that cry, you scabs! What are you doing?" And you can see that all of a sudden, all these human unionists, and there are more than you, begin charging after you all with a bunch of bricks.
We better boogie.
That's our cue.
Okay.
Climb.
All right, so all of you go ahead and roll dex saves as you try to carefully and quickly climb up. Okay. All right, so as you're climbing up, you can hear and feel bricks being thrown, clinking off the metal of the crane. Most of you are able to move and shimmy fast enough to avoid or outrange some of these throws. However, Dieter Horsendorf and Ashley, Miss Chuffwack, and Vilta all get pelted with a brick. And so each one of you...
Also, I'm me. Douglas also
we only
failed.
had one success.
Oh, okay. All of you go ahead and take 5 points of damage. Now, does anybody go into their strength?
Yes,
okay.
I do.
Okay. So go ahead and roll a dex save.
I went to exactly 0 HP.
You will get
roll another dex save?
Roll a strength save, excuse me. Vilta, if you go into exactly 0, you will get a scar. Okay.
I also went into my strength.
Go ahead and roll a strength save.
I only had 3 HP.
So you also went into your strength.
Okay.
Okay.
Anybody who went into the strength, subtract it from your strength and roll a strength save. Okay. So, by the time that you all climb up, you get up to the rooftop. Simo, you move flawlessly without any problems. You look behind and you can see these numbskulls taking their time, getting whacked away with it. When they all plop down, you can see that Douglas and Miss Chuffwack are writhing around in pain. You can see as if there's blood pouring down from their heads, as though they have taken some significant amount of damage to those skulls. So what basically happens, and the good thing is that we weren't in like full-on combat, is that what basically happens there is you guys took critical damage, which means you wouldn't be able to go on. But fortunately, you're out of the way of any sort of combat, and so you can kind of catch your breath up here. But that strength reduction is permanent for the course of our adventure. You can go to a specialist later on and get that strength back, but your HP will basically replenish if you like take a little bit of a rest. If you take a little bit of a rest to catch your breath, there's always the chance for random encounters and stuff like that, but you can do it. Consider it like a short rest, so to speak. And see, let's see. And then let's resolve Vilta. Vilta, when she gets up here, you can see that she is the worst of them all, and that her head is just covered in blood. So the way scars work is that if you're ever reduced to exactly 0 HP, you take a scar. A scar can actually be a fairly beneficial thing because it allows you, over the course of time, to potentially increase HP and just get kind of cool scars. So you get a bloody mess. So you need stitches, and you are deprived until this is done by a specialist. That's the downside. Deprived basically means that anytime you try to do a rest, you cannot benefit from rest. So someone deprived of the crucial need cannot benefit from rest. So your HP is going to then remain at 0, and you don't get anything back from that. The bright side is that if you manage to get through all this and we continue playing this character, you will be able to re-roll your maximum HP using 2d6 as opposed to 1d6.
Oh, that'll be cool.
Yeah, but you're going to need to get that bloody mess taken care of. So
is there like a window of time on that, or I just need to get it fixed?
No, not in this one. I'm not sure if any of them do, but this one doesn't for sure. Okay. On the bright side, you're on top of the roof. So there's that. You look around, and you can see that there are, it's kind of in a regular rooftop. You can see that as you were coming up, there was a small ledge. Like you have like a small box that's probably about 20 by 20 feet or so that you're on top of. And then on the right-hand side of the wall, there's a little bit of a ledge that suggested some other chunk of the building being kicked out. You can see that there's a drop immediately on top of the rooftop, about 15 to 20 feet down, where you can see another platform, there. And you can see that there's something on the ground below you. Like you're about 15 to 20 feet up, like a raised box on top of the roof. And on the roof, on the flattened part of the roof, you can see that there's something, some sort of rubble. Across the way, across this small gap, you can see another one of these big old boxies, for lack of a better term, also on the other side as well. Doesn't seem to have any clear doors on the other side, but when you look down and you peek, you can see that there appears to be some kind of opening into the box that you're standing on.
I guess let's test and see if it opens.
So you scramble down carefully, and when you get down there, you can see that there is a door that is swinging almost in the breeze, precariously on its own hinges. And you can see there are a bunch of bricks laying about on the ground. And on the wall, next to this precariously swinging door, there is, in big, bold, capital letters, "Do not enter, private property," and it's painted all over the place. But this door is kind of flapping open a bit. Or you can look on the other side of the roof to try to explore that other box on the western side. Or you can go inside.
Yeah, I guess I'll go look on the other side, see what's on the other side.
Okay, so you hustle over, you scramble up the walls. There's plenty of irregular bricklaying, so it's easy to get some handholds and footholds. When you sneak across it, you look down on, which is effectively the western side. You can actually see the Bohemian building over there. there's a little balcony, and there looks to be like a big purplish stain on like a tile. There's kind of this nice outdoor tile. There looks to be some fern or plant, an ashtray on a small table, and from what you can tell, there might be like a window or a door, like on the same, underneath you. So it looks like there's two ways in.
It seems we have ourselves a conundrum. Should we go down to the balcony or through this door, which we are clearly not welcome?
I apologize, Germany. It took like 6 years of German, and I feel really bad right now.
I mean, the balcony seems more welcoming, but that might be more dangerous. Who knows?
From what you can tell, the balcony entrance doesn't seem to be open, meaning like it's not currently open. The door that's swinging precariously with bricks all around it suggests that someone might have broken this open relatively recently.
Let's go in the already open door.
Yeah.
Okay.
We could maybe just sneak a peek down this side where the balcony is.
You could look through the window and see what you see.
I think that might be a good idea.
Go for it. Vilta and I and Miss Chuffwack will start, leading Vilta into the room.
Okay, so you're splitting the party. Fun. All right, so Dieter, when you hop down on the balcony, you can see that there is a fairly long dead fern, two of them in fact, sitting on either corner of the balcony, that when you immediately touch them, just completely dissolve, as if they haven't been tended to in years.
What a shame.
There is an unused ashtray, and you have to be careful where you step because there's like a broken bottle of wine. When you pick it up, you see it's a fairly nice vintage, and that accounts for that big purple reddish stain on the tile itself. You can see that there's like a sliding door here, but it's, from what you can tell, it seems to be barricaded from the inside.
Is it glass?
Does appear to be glass, yep.
Can I put my little peepers through it and see what's going on inside?
You put your little peepers through it, and right on the inside of it, there looks to be some almost like stucco, but it's like globbed on. It's not like smooth. It's not patterned properly. It's just like a chunk here, a little bit of a hole or an opening there. When you get to like one of the holes or the openings, it looks like this is a bedroom. You think that's a fairly big bed. There's stuff that's on it. There looks to be some kind of furniture, maybe like a lounge chair or some kind. It's very dark. The only light is really the light coming in from the window itself. Right now, it's almost the end of the day. It's almost nighttime, so you're not getting a ton of light in there. But from what you can see, there's definitely looks like a bedroom. The rest of you, when you go into the other one, you see what looks to be a whole mess load of machinery, gears, pulley systems, stuff like that. It doesn't appear to be functioning. None of it appears to be working. Like half wheels with gears sitting in the floor, sticking out. You can see that there's, when you look a little bit, when you look in the corners of the room, there's a game board sitting on the ground. Similar to like a backgammon or something like that. There's kind of black and white pieces that have been scattered, and there are broken bits and pieces of what looks to be some kind of marble plastering statue.
How dirty is the environment? Like, has anyone maybe passed through at all as well?
It's very dusty and chalky in here, and as you move around, you also see that there is a hole in the floor, and there seems to be a ladder sticking up out of it, and footprints that aren't your own.
Seems someone's passed. Also, it looks like we're in an attic.
It's
really not.
Velta wants to look at the statue.
Okay.
Like, what is the statue like of, or?
It definitely seems to have been a humanoid shape of some kind. Like you can see what look to be like arms and legs, and like elbows and knees, stuff like that. Pieces of a nose. You're not sure if all the pieces are here. You can see duels of things like two right hands, so it suggests that maybe there was more than one. And when you look even more closely, you see torn pieces of some kind of fabric or tapestry, very colorful. You look a little bit closer and you can see almost like this neoclassic kind of almost like paint. It's this like senatorial centurion type argument happening, but you can't quite see it all. You can just see like people in togas like debating of some kind.
I'm gonna look for try to stick my head back up and be like, hey Dieter, you might want to check this out over here. There's like statues arguing. It's totally your thing.
Don't save a picture for me.
I'm gonna try to see if Dieter will come join us.
So
where we are.
I don't think there's any way for me to get in, so I go back up.
You just have to. I would call for a strength save, but you could try to smash your way in.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna try and get my way in.
Okay,
I'll do that.
Roll a strength save. This is without any weaponry or anything else. You're just trying to smash in. Is that a success? All right. You just roll a 9? Is that correct? Justin's looking confused and not responding.
It's not rolling.
Yeah, that was from earlier.
Okay, just roll a d20. All right, that's going to be a fail. So you try to slam your shoulder into it, and as you do, you can feel like the glass crack, no problem, but the plaster on the other side is a little bit more difficult. You would imagine if somebody had, I don't know, some kind of tool, or if maybe you found a brick or something, you might be able to smash through it a little bit more easily.
I have a cane. Here's my cane.
Okay. So you can slowly, over the course of a couple minutes, start hacking away at it and make your way in. What are the rest of you doing?
So question, we're here to look for art. We're assuming this is like painting art? Like that's what we're looking for is... It's
the artist was known to do many things. In fact, very diverse, went through many different phases in their life. Sometimes it was 3D, it was sculpture, sometimes it was painting, a little bit of everything. Some things were less common, other mediums.
Just want to make sure that like we're not bypassing something that's actually valuable.
You're specifically looking for some sort of vault. I'm resetting our sandbox so the rolls will start working again. You're specifically looking for some sort of vault that is supposed to have like the most prized possessions.
Oh, okay.
There, now it goes through. Okay, because it's reset. Okay, so what do the rest of you want to do here? You still got the machinery. You've got like chalk on the ground. You got the little game pieces and stuff, and you got the hole in the ground with a ladder going down.
I want to look at the game pieces.
Okay. When you look pretty closely, you can see it's probably a game you recognize, very similar to backgammon. Looks like the game was interrupted, not finished. It's not in a finished state. When you look along the walls and you start to look a little bit more carefully, you start noticing that there are these slashes, like 1, 2, 3, 4 vertical slashes, then a horizontal one, as if it was someone tallying or marking. And there, as you start to look at the walls, you can see there's faded countings, as if someone has been counting literally hundreds and hundreds of these, and the chalk has faded, and then they've written over top of it. It looks like there have been many, 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 many games that have been played and tracked on the walls. Douglas, what are you up to?
So the metallic pieces, you said they were just strewn about, or did they look like they fell out of something or go into something?
It's like
in
marble.
The environment? It's
like marble and plaster. It's like it looks like it's part of the broken statues that Viltro was going through.
Oh,
then
okay.
There's like metallic machinery. When you look at that, it's definitely broken. You can see certain aspects of like the pulleys and the gears seem to be jammed. You can see that some cables that connect to these gears go down into the ground at a different section from the hole that was kind of drilled or built. You would probably put together this might have to do with some kind of elevator system, like a lift system, and this is just all jammed. So you're in some kind of like utility machinery room at the top of the roof that controls or helps the lifts and the apartment building move.
Gotcha. Okay. So yeah. So then if we're looking for vaults, like I would think that I'm going to go down that ladder into the next level because vaults are usually stored lower.
Okay. We'll switch over to Dieter and then we'll resolve moving into that next room. So Dieter, you burst through. No problem. It takes a little bit of time, but you eventually start hacking away at your cane to get inside. When you come inside, it is most certainly a bedroom. You likely have to strike up a lantern at this point, as it took you long enough that the sun has fully gone down behind the western Bohemian building, and you're not really getting any light in here. So you strike a lantern up so you can actually hold up your lantern and look around. You can see that there is a large undulating waterbed in the middle with a bunch of disheveled blankets over top of it, and has not been made recently. You can see that there is a chase lounge on which have been tossed some very colorful looking robes. You can see that there looks to be a door straight ahead in the wall in front of you, which doesn't quite make sense because that door would lead to the outside of the rooftop, which would lead, like if you were to open it, you would be able to look directly at the other door where the rest of your party has gone in, but you don't recall seeing a door on the other side of the roof. And you also see a broken hole in the floor.
Let's go check the door real quick, see what that's about.
You open the door, it opens up inwards, and you can see that there is a brick wall immediately on the other side.
Okay.
You can see there are cracks in the brick. There's a bunch of like white dust on the ground.
Can I inspect the dust?
You pick it up, taste it a little bit. It's cocaine, definitely. No, it's like plaster. It's like you're not really sure. Plaster, ground, marble, maybe something probably used in some kind of mixture that artists might use. Nothing out of the ordinary.
Is there any type of, I don't know, signs of people in the room that were maybe have just left it or struggle or anything like that?
You see some robes on the chase lounge, and you do see that there's like a bunch of disheveled blankets and sheets on top of the bed, and it's like a big and lumpy. So
go check the bed, see what's inside of it.
Okay, you pull the blankets back, and you can see that there are 2 plaster statues, and they are spooning. There's a big spoon and a little spoon.
Okay.
When you look pretty closely, you notice that they are separate pieces, but they are very impressively and intricately intertwined somehow.
Can I separate them in any ways? Examine a little better.
As you try to, it does not appear possible. It's one of those like they're kind of interlocked in such a way that if you wanted to break them apart, you would literally have to break the marble, which you can do if you like.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay, so you hack through, and one of the arms breaks, and you can see that the same kind of white plaster erupts in the air, similar to where you've seen elsewhere. You separate them. You look over them a little bit more carefully. It's just some sort of marble mixed with probably like there's kind of like a marble plaster thing mixture going on here. You see some veins, very subtle light grays. It's mostly white, but there's some light grays and stuff here and there. Very strange, almost angular face. It definitely doesn't reflect like a normal humanistic face. It seems a little bit like maybe it's not yet finished. It's like it's just maybe a rough draft, and the chiseler hasn't come back to do the finer points to it.
Can I check and see what was on the sliding glass door, like what material was on there?
It looks very much like the same material that these creatures, these statues have been made out of.
Can I inspect the hole in the ground, see if I can see down it?
Yeah, it looks to go down to a different level. So when you look down, It definitely looks like, as you start to peer at this looks like some kind of penthouse. It's a beautiful room, but it also appears to be kind of cut in half. Like the wall that has the door on it seems to be haphazard and short. Like doesn't quite, the dimensions don't seem right to your feng shui. When you look down into the room below, there's about a 10 to 15 foot drop, but you think it's the same apartment because you do see a staircase that's leading upwards but inwards, as if it's going to be connecting to somewhere kind of underneath where that new wall is, where that false door is. It's as if somebody has like reshaped the building and has made the staircase just lead to nothing. When you look down, it just looks to be more of an apartment building. You kind of hold the light just to, it just looks like be like an apartment. And again, you're by yourself.
Can I work on breaking the wall where the door was so I can get to them better?
It would likely take a while and probably ruin your cane.
All right, so I'll go up and over, try and get back with them so I can let them know what I found.
Okay. So you catch up just in time where Douglas is climbing down. So that's the last thing I heard. So Douglas, you start climbing down into the room below, and you two also at this point, when you're leaving this first room, would need to start striking up a lantern. But as you move down a couple steps, you start to hear something. You think it might be voices. And as you listen more carefully, it's definitely voices, like two people not arguing, but kind of like joking with one another or something like that. And not only that, but you see various bits of light being cast on certain objects below. This looks to be some kind of studio with all sorts of sculptures in various poses and various shapes. And you're getting all these strange shadows that are being cast. Someone's down here, hasn't noticed you yet. Someone's down here and they're talking and there's a lantern.
Okay.
You had the gun, right?
Yeah. So they're about how far away are they?
You think that they're kind of maybe about, it's a fairly big room. It's a big ass studio, like a big, huge artist sculpting studio. And where you're going down, you're probably relatively central. And I would say about 20 feet kind of off to, let's call it your right, like the east, is where the voices seem to be coming from. And a lot of these sculptures, some of them are humanoid, some of them are abstract, some of them are huge. And so there's places to like drop down and hide if you're careful.
Yeah, that'll be what I do. I'll try to move closer to see if I can hear what the conversation is about, but also look for some kind of sculpture that can conceal me.
Okay. So if you're going to move closer, I'll go ahead and ask you to roll a dex save to be careful as you try to quickly, slightly move. As you're moving, you step on some kind of small piece of broken plaster that makes you lose your balance. You bump into a statue, and all of a sudden the statue just goes crash, and the conversation suddenly stops.
Hey, who's that? Stop, is that you? No joking around now.
And you can see the light begins to move, and you can hear footsteps. Those of you who are up in the building can hear that shouting, because that's literal shouting. It's not the just basic voices. And you know that Douglas is down there by himself.
What name did he call out?
Stob, S-T-O-B.
Okay.
Velta's gonna pop down.
Okay.
In defense of the group.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so as Miss Chuffwack and Vilta start scrambling down the ladder, they immediately see you now that they're looking in that direction. Don't actually catch Douglas yet, and they're like,
Hey, who do you think you all get out of here? This is all fine. Go, get out of here.
And you can see that there's these two fairly like chunky looking dudes, both of whom have these big, colorful red suspenders over top of these dirty, grimy, like white shirts, like tank top style. They got like hair sticking out the top and like these gristly beards, cigars sticking out.
Hey, that's right.
And all of them, and they're both like carrying like these fairly heavy, meaty looking crowbars.
Do we recognize that attire as being any particular
No, just
group or profession or anything?
nah, nothing like that. Just laborers like yourselves, and they are aggressively coming in your direction, brandishing these crowbars. What do you want to do?
I'm gonna throw a toxic smoke bomb.
Okay, so we'll say go ahead and throw it.
Am I there now?
I would say you have just entered into the machinery room above.
D6.
We'll get to you in a sec. All right, so
4.
okay, so I forgot to mention this. So in this game, there are no attack rolls. Your stuff hits, but
okay.
what we do is we everyone has to call out like their targets. So you call out your targets, and then everybody rolls their damage dice against whatever target that they're going to be attacking. If you don't call out at the start of a combat round that target, then you can't attack that target. So in this case, you're throwing an AoE. Douglas and Vilta, what are the two of you doing? You're throwing an AoE, so it's going to hit both of them. But what are the two of you doing, Vilta and Douglas? Do you want to attack as well? If so, who do you want to attack?
I was going to see if firing a warning shot from my pistol and saying back off, like intimidates them.
Okay. So, but you're not specifically trying to attack them.
No, because they haven't quite attacked us yet. They're just telling us to leave.
Oh,
Okay.
I
Too late for
threw
that.
it back.
Okay. So you'll fire your shot. Vilta, what are you doing?
Vilta similarly just wanted to kind of be big and present.
Okay.
So we'll.
So I will.
Yeah, I wasn't
Wait,
expecting to be immediate.
Okay, so I'll say, Douglas, go ahead and roll a charisma save, and I'll say you can get like a +5 to this because you're firing your shot. So whatever you roll, add +5 to it. Vilta, go ahead and roll a charisma save as well to see how well they react. All right, I should say -5. Sorry, so you subtract the 5 from it, something like that. Okay, so
I just did a roll. It's just a straight roll.
that's fine. Well, you didn't get any bonus. I was giving Douglas a bonus for his use of the gun. But so as you all are, as Vilta is looking all chesty and such and intimidating, and Douglas is firing a gun and warning them down, Miss Chuffwick is having none of that, and she chucks a grenade right at them, and they're like, oh! They're like reacting to the gunfire, and they're and then you roll and explode for 4 damage to both of them, which will go right into their will clear their HP, will go right into their strength, and I will need to roll strength saves for both of them, or they are going to be in dire straits. That's a fail, and that's a fail. So as this grenade comes tumbling in, it lands click, click, click right next to them. They look down, get distracted by the gunshot of Douglas to the point where they can't dive out of the way of it. And the explosion happens, sending all sorts of plaster and marble in all sorts of different directions. When all the dust clears from the different plaster, you see white smoke in the air. You can see these 2 guys on the ground, bloody and shattered and not moving.
So one of the things that we
Good.
So one of the things that we want to see with this system though is like you don't necessarily have to kill people. You just have to see if like what you do makes them like run away.
Technically true of
deters them
any
from what
system.
they're doing.
That's fair, but Miss Chuffwick wasn't having any shit.
That's fine.
So she's gonna go into the room now, and she's gonna hold her broom,
Okay.
and she's gonna make sure that they're dead.
Okay.
But she has to wait for the smoke to kind of clear out a little bit because
Okay.
I don't know how long it lasts.
The smoke is still there, and we'll say as you step away, it'll 1, 2, a couple beats, and it'll eventually clear out. It was a very loud explosion, and there's all sorts of bits and pieces of all sorts of statues and stuff all over the place. All right. At this point, Simo and Dieter, you can come on down if you want. What's next?
Oh, I see you guys perfected your gunshot distraction into toxic gas technique. I remember the first time you did that and it didn't work quite well.
My God, what the hell did you do?
And Miss Chuffwick really isn't going to answer to any of them. She's going to check for a pulse. If there's no pulse, she's going to kind of sweep her feet a little bit so her feet stay clean. And then she's gonna look around and see what else is like at this end of the room.
They both appear to be bleeding out. They're not entirely dead yet, but they're likely going to be quite soon.
I like the idea, like, I go to try and help him, and Ashley's like, no, don't you even. They need to die.
Yeah, I'm just gonna turn to Miss Chuffley and be like, "Oh my, that was unnecessarily violent. I don't. Why? We could have just scared them off. I have a gun, for God's sake."
I'm not sharing the money. We have 10,000 dead. And then she'll just kind of just keep going and look around, and she's like, let them die. And then
Okay. So when you're kind of nosing around the corpses, you can see that they've got crowbars. You can hand those out if you want. There's 2 of them. D6 if you want to use them as weapons.
like a crowbar.
Both of them have like this like as you see that them get closer now, they had like fishnet stockings over their heads. And like they had like the cigar was like between one of the holes in the fishnet stocking. They had eyes and stuff. And you can see that they are backing up some statues, but like broken pieces of statues. They're just grabbing broken pieces.
I'm gonna actually try to, before one of them expires, I'm gonna try to get an answer from them if there's anyone else here.
Okay. And so you roll one over, and they're
Mother, is that you? Mother.
So what do you say?
Maybe.
Maybe.
Is anybody?
I'd like a more definitive answer before I die.
Is anyone else here?
Why should I tell you?
Just then I'll go get your mother.
But she's dead.
Roll a charisma save.
Yeah, no.
So
no.
they just spit up in your face, and you get blood in like a tooth, and then they expire. Now, when you look around a little bit more, this again very big studio room. You likely think that this is the room that was kind of jutting out the eastern wall, as it extends pretty far. There's all sorts of there's still some intact statues, but there are a lot of broken statues. You also notice that there is this strange looking contraption, almost like a tool of some kind. And there's a bunch of bags of plaster. Some are unopened, some are spilled. And there is this fairly large, chunky looking sculpture in the back.
I want to look at that sculpture.
It definitely looks not human. It's got these weird kind of curves, almost like little tentacles that are being kind of swept around in different directions. Very precise etching where you can almost see like scales and suction cups and such. You also see some of those suction cups like even more intricately. There's like an eyeball or something inside of them. Then there's other parts that seem flat and unattended to. And then curving underneath it, you can almost see like a mouth and teeth.
Does it look like there's any seams or like lines, any like to hide, say, a vault?
No, this looks pretty. This it's just a sculpture. So it definitely looks. It looks mobile. It's on a slab. You would imagine if somebody put this on some kind of like furniture dolly or furniture mover, it could kind of move it around. You do notice as you're looking around that there on the far western wall, when you go to the other wall, there actually looks like a double door that's got like these heavy wooden doors tightly connected, but there's like a little bit of a seam between them, as if one of the sides of the doors is like not quite aligned properly, and you can see a gate behind it. You would guess this is probably an elevator opening, and that on the other side is like a shaft.
Nice.
So when we look inside the statues, like like they seem to be like plaster through and through.
Mhm.
Like whenever there's broken pieces, like.
Mhm.
Okay. Just want to make sure it's not something like other than a statue.
Is there like a dolly where I can wheel this thing into the elevator?
This thing would probably take all of you to do so, and when you peek, there doesn't appear to be an elevator. It just said a shaft.
Oh, okay. So I have to call it. Is there any buttons nearby to call the elevator?
There are, but remember when you saw the machinery upstairs, the machinery was all busted, so you don't expect the elevator to be in working order.
Gotcha.
Can we see if the elevator is above or below us at all?
When you move one of the doors to the side, you look down, you can see that there are, kind of strangely, when you look down the shaft, it's below you, and it's as if two parallel elevator cars have somehow become intertwined, and part of like as if they're like just unnaturally twisted, like two squares are like suddenly twisted in a way. Only on for each one of those cars, only one side of them still seems to be in the grooves on either side of the actual shaft. The other ones are outside of it. It looks fairly precarious. The cabling that connects to the machinery up top no longer seems to be connected. And you can see that a lot of the reinforcement beams that are on this elevator shaft have crumpled or have been ripped apart entirely. But it goes down, and you can see a little hole in the top of one of the elevator cars. So if you can hop down into one, but that's a good 30 feet down or so.
Okay. Let's see if there's another way before we have to go down the shaft.
Okay. All right. You look around and you find on the eastern side there are the signs of old windows that have been filled in with brick. But you don't see any other doors other than the hole that was made going up. When you get to like the northeast corner of the building, this kind of deep shadow, you hear a as if somebody is crying. And there's like just shadow in that direction.
I'll call out and investigate closer. Hello, is someone there?
And then the crying stops. And then you hear something grinding across the floor, like. And then when you look, you hold up your lantern and it casts light. You can see this half humanoid, half like octopus squid-like statue that has this beautiful tapestry draped over top of it. You can see one of its arms, one of these plaster arms, is like leaning up and sliding into the tapestry like it's a sleeve, and like suddenly encompassing its entire body in this colorful tapestry, and then begins to in your direction, and the plaster tentacles and things that were once hard are suddenly liquidy and dragging, and it looks like these tentacles are going to start kind of swinging out in your direction. So doesn't everyone go ahead and roll dex saves to see if you can go, because it's a fairly surprising moment, see if you can go before this thing goes. Okay, so the only person who would kind of see this or hear this thing happening is Douglas. You're a little bit away, but you have a gun, and you can see suddenly out of the corner of your eye this large, strange, half squid, half humanoid creature, Cthulhu-like, coming out of the dark recesses of the northeast corner of the room at Simo, who's just...
Okay, so then I'll just cry out, "Back, you terrifying beast!" And I guess I'll fire at it with the revolver.
Okay, so none of them you don't have to worry about in this particular case. So roll your d6.
Just trying to a weapon 1.
There you go. Okay, cool. And so it'll, and you can see it definitely took some sort of hit, but it's going to take both of its tentacles at this point, these two, and just rat-tat, like 1-2, right at Simo here. crying the whole time, like hitting you as it's doing so. So this is hitting you twice. It's hitting you with tendrils. Only one of these d6s are actually going to count. The higher one will count.
Okay.
Okay, so take 3 points of damage.
It drops me to 1.
Okay, you're okay then. All right.
Okay.
So then, the rest of you, the fire. You hear the shot go off from Douglas, and then you turn around and you can see that he has fired into what apparently is some crazy tentacle monster that starts to whack at Simo. Okay, so now. All of you, everyone, at this point, Douglas, you probably have to like reload or something like that. But all of you, there's only one creature, so I imagine all of you are going to want to do something here. Simo, you're in close proximity to it. You all can attack the same creature. There's only one thing that you can see. You can try to do something else if you want. Let me know.
Can I just get a clarification? So it was plaster,
It was.
and then when it was covered by the tapestry, it became non-plaster and liquidy.
Sure. That sounds.
Is that
all of that
accurate to
sounds.
the description?
All of that sounds exactly correct.
Interesting.
Another point of clarification: did we actually take a short rest when we got to the rooftop, or did we not do that? Okay,
Yeah,
I gotta
there you
mark
go.
my HP back.
You guys rested. Yeah, HP is literally like an encounter resource. So unless you have like what,
I never brought mine up from 0,
Yeah.
so that's why I was confused for a second.
like Vilta, that's one of the things, like Vilta loses like the benefit of that. So
Right.
as far as I understand it, if I'm reading that correctly, you don't actually get that HP back because you are deprived.
Right. Understood.
I'm looking at the rules summary to make sure I didn't get that wrong. All right. Okay. So the rest of you weren't able to really respond in that particular round, and so at this point, what are you guys all doing? So it's a fresh round of combat. All of you are now aware of this monster. What do you guys want to do?
The tapestry is currently wrapped around it.
It's like it's as if the tapestry itself has covered all of the plaster and has sort of melded into it and become this one mobile moving thing.
Oh, okay. So it's not something that could be just taken back off
Probably
if it's
not.
melded into it. Okay.
You could
Yeah,
try,
that's what I was
but you would
wondering,
probably
too.
have to get up close and pull on it. But it's fairly big. It's a big hulking figure.
Did it react at all to getting shot?
It certainly did. You saw like one of its tentacles fly back, and you can see like some sort of juices fly out of the flesh.
Is it still crying?
Yeah, the whole time. And it just beats Simo with two.
Won't everybody attack? Burn it with fire.
Okay, so
I'll
if
just fight for my life here since I'm up close.
okay, so all of you are attacking. So if all of you are attacking, what you do, everybody roll your if every one of you are whoever is attacking, all of you roll your damage die. If you're not attacking, just say what else you're doing. But if you're attacking,
Do we just roll the weapon?
just
The
roll your-
weapon.
Oh, sorry. I just rolled a d6.
That's fine. Okay, and so we take the highest die total.
If I wanted to blow a pinch of the hell spice that I have into its face, would I need to do anything special for that? Because small doses can cause, mild hallucination might not help us.
I would like if you want to do it, you could just say you do it. I don't see any.
No, I
reason.
forgot it was hallucination. I was thinking something else. I'll just shoot it.
All right. So go ahead and roll your damage die. Okay, and as you all begin to surround this thing, hacking away at it, Dieter gets a huge hit with his cane, but it's the gunfire that comes from Douglas behind that once again seems to pierce like the tendril scales. It's 7, so it is. That's into its strength. So I will roll a strength save, which it fails, and you can see that it kind of becomes stunned and there's like this huge exit wound where the gunfire hit it that you see is oozing out. The shot also made this little flickering wind as though the tapestry itself, this might be a really good time to just yank it off.
Yeah, if I'm allowed to do that, I'll go ahead and attempt to rip the tapestry off.
Since no one else is doing it, yes, you can go ahead and
Yeah.
do it. You can't skin. So you run up while all of them are staring dumbfounded, and you just yank this thing off. And the statue is once again inert, except now it's in a different shape than when you saw it previously. It's like as if wherever you pulled this off, it's in that same state that it is now. Big chunk of it missing from the marble and plaster where the shots made contact with it. And you
Is it still sobbing?
You don't hear the sobbing anymore.
Are there any more tapestries in the
Right?
room?
You don't, but Dieter, when you look at this, this looks very similar to what you saw in terms of its fabric on the Chase Lounge in the bedroom that you had climbed in by yourself. However, what you looked at on the fabric, definitely there was a different kind of patterning. You didn't look at it too carefully because you didn't really examine it, but it definitely looks different than this. This, when you start looking at the pattern, the same strange, monstrous form that you were just fighting is what seems to be depicted in the artwork on the tapestry itself.
Oh.
So, and don't forget that
And-
someone picked up some fabrics that had like a old Roman senator orating.
Weren't there 2 robes on the Chase Lounge in that?
Yep, that's what he.
Yeah,
that's
so
definitely
you
what he
just
saw.
broke some like married couple's arm off to separate them. You just sack of crap.
Oh.
Well, you know,
Just like damaged some guy while he couldn't move.
So, did we think that she lived alone? Like this was her?
You know that she did live, that she specifically lived alone, and that she has, over the course of her time, been purchasing apartments out from under previous residents and tenants so that she can now own the whole entire building, and has apparently been carving certain parts and reshaping, filling out windows, stuff like that, to make sure that her erratic and strange, and it's not a her, by the way, it's just Balmy, so it's there. It's
Okay.
no
So-
no clarity
so
in
we
terms of sex.
Okay, so we think. So we thought that they lived alone, but perhaps the previous tenants never left.
So a Medusa effect, kind of.
I
Huh.
wonder.
but it seems that the sculptures are brought back to life by the tapestries. So maybe they're just carvings, but they are reanimating the sculptures through the tapestries that they've created.
I want to look for a tapestry that has a vault on it.
You don't see anything in here like that, but I'll keep a note on that as we progress further. There's also this little tool on the ground that you all haven't quite looked at. If one of you wants to grab that.
Yeah, I'll look at it.
So this is what's called an oddity. This is a sculpting gun. As you start messing around with it, it's almost like a paintball machine, like a paintball gun. Like there's this like big funnel on the very top that seems to want to feed something into it. And when you kind of pull the trigger on it, you see a big wad of some kind of like sculpting plaster gets shot out in the direction and just adheres to whatever it sticks to. So oddities in this game are familiar. If for those of you who actually played Cypher with us before, because we did Cypher system, similar to Cyphers in that they're like these limited use items, but they're really cool and interesting. They just kind of have a very specific purpose, or they're limited. So what this is basically allowing you to do is like you can shoot like plaster out and possibly adhere somebody or slow them or something like that.
So
Okay.
what's happened is they've shot the tenants with the gun, covering them in plaster.
Oh, we
And-
don't know that for sure.
But that's my thought process
So
right
lots
now.
of
'Cause that's-
shards of these statues laying around.
Yeah, because that's why I asked earlier. Because the plaster, like when you break the plaster, inside the plaster, you're not seeing
No, it's just
anything.
More,
It's
more
plaster through and through.
Yes, it is.
So, yeah.
Let's look for some more tapestries.
You also see plenty of uncarved like marble slabs in here too. So it's like a mixture. Like there's marble, and then there's like this plaster that's for like, fixing seams and stuff like that as well. But
Do we want to go back as a group to the other apartment and then go down into the hole at some point? I think that might be an option after we're done exploring whatever's here.
I mean, yeah, if they don't connect elsewhere.
there's 2 ways back, or there's 2 ways to move out of this one. You can go back up the ladder to where you were in the machinery room, or you can try to go into the elevator shaft and climb down towards the twisted cars.
I think the only reason to go in the other room right now would be as if we thought the vault was off of that room. Like if we thought the vault was through that door in the middle.
So-
You said there was like a rope or something by machines earlier, or is that something else?
No, they were more like cables. It's like cables being
Okay.
attached to a pulley, being attached to the car, but like they appear to have like snapped and they don't seem to be connected anymore.
Is the tapestry big enough that we could use it to sort of like roll it up and like climb down? Like if we rolled,
No, it's
if
not.
you
It's
rolled
not
up,
30. It's not 30 feet big. No. It's maybe like a 10-foot by 6-foot, 7-foot, something like that.
So my question is, in that previous room, so we had the top floor up top with the roof, right?
Mhm.
This would be the room we're currently in is a level down.
Mhm.
Is that what it is?
Yep, you're one
So-
level below the machinery room,
If we went through the hole, we would be even with where we're at right now, correct?
assuming that they have the same heights. Yes.
Okay, yeah.
I want to go up to the top room and get some cable,
Okay.
like a good chunk, and bring it down and use the oddity, the sculpting gun,
Okay.
to shoot some clay and like try and like harden it and connect it to the ground so that waiting for it to solidify so we could use that to climb down.
Okay. Roll a d6.
are we aiming low now?
Okay. No, this is just you have 3 more uses of this gun before
Okay.
it's out of its juice. And then you would have to take some time to mix a new mixture, which you don't really have time for right now. So you have 3 more uses of it. But after a little bit of time, if any of you took HP, you can actually do your rest. You adhere, and the cable drops. Looks like it goes most of the way down. And you could just climb down if you want.
Yeah.
All right, so when you start climbing down the elevator shaft, you notice a few things. You notice that there appears to be some kind of like another floor, like another entry floor, up slightly, and on the other side of the elevator shaft. You would hazard a guess, Dieter, that might go towards the penthouse apartment that you were in. Maybe that bottom floor of the penthouse that you didn't explore yet, not the one with the waterbed, but just underneath, that probably goes there, but it's only half. It's as if the rooftop has been lowered, cutting that floor's that floor's door in half. Like, remember, everything's kind of imploding and twisting in on itself. But you can see it's there. If you wanted to kind of try to climb up and crawl, it would be somewhat dangerous and you have to squeeze and stuff, but you could potentially do it. When you climb down the cables, you hop down onto these twisting cable cars, and the minute you do, you feel that they are not sturdy, and they start to shake a little bit. Like, everything starts to kind of just move ever so slightly. You can see that there is a hole that kind of goes down into the cars themselves, and like this crumpling floor beam, like as you peek down into them, is partially jutting into the side of one of them.
Ooh.
I want to try and get into that lower penthouse room, so squeeze into that thing.
Okay. All right. So go ahead and roll a strength save as you try to climb up, because there's no cable connecting to it, so you're just kind of climbing up the walls. Yeah, you just can't quite find. It's not like outside where there's various perfectly spaced bricks, but as you try to climb up, you just can't quite meet it. You know how to get around if you want to later, but you just can't quite get up this way. What the rest of you doing?
Can Vilta also get that at whirl?
Sure. So as Dieter slaps back down, incapable and useless, you go ahead.
It's one of those things, the second one gets the benefit of seeing what the first one did wrong, that kind of a thing.
You manage to climb all the way up, and you can see that the gate that like you know those old school elevators that have like the sideway doors
Yep.
and then the vertical gates. This is what we're dealing with. In this case, the gate seems to be missing, and all you have are those sideways doors. There's just enough room to kind of put your fingers between it. I would say it's hard to really use a crowbar in this case because you're using one arm to hang on, and then you're using the other to kind of pull it apart. But I'll roll over the strength, and as you're starting to roll, as you're trying to pull apart, it's nothing but darkness on the inside. But you hear sudden footsteps, and then you hear like this prominent voice say, "Halt! Intruder!" And then a spear comes out of the darkness right at your face. I'm going to give you a dex save to see if you are surprised or not surprised. Okay. You see this coming, and you are able to do something before they are able to stab you in the face. So what would you like to do? And again, you can't quite, it's too dark. Everything's dark in here. There's lanterns down by the elevator where everyone's waiting, but you can't really see in there. But they say, "Halt, intruder!" Like very formal way of speaking, and then a spearhead suddenly juts out at you. But you can do something before I'm going to resolve that attack.
So I think. So is this a situation where I can, like, here's the floor?
Where
and
you
I
can knock
try to
your
kind of
mic
hang-
like a loser.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
Talking with my hands.
It's okay. I do the same thing.
Is there like a floor that I can try to kind of be hanging off?
No, not really. You could either, I would say, you're going to take some damage.
I'll just fall flat.
Okay,
Like I'll just try to.
If you
make my
fall, you're
surface
falling.
area
You're
as
falling
small.
like you're falling like 20 feet. So if you just fall, yeah, you climbed
That's
up.
what I was trying to figure out. Can I hang on the edge of that?
Sure.
Then?
Yeah.
Like if okay, then that's what I want to do. I want to like hang on the edge.
Do you want to hit them, punch them, something like that?
Well, the first thing I'm doing is trying to avoid them, and then like once I've got myself on fingers.
That's
then
not how I was. That's not. Remember, attacks. If they get an attack off, it hits just like you guys. So they're getting an attack off at you. I'm asking you, do you want to do something first? Like, do you want to swing at them, hit them, use some sort of item in your equipment, whatever? But it's just they're going and they're going to poke you in the head.
Oh, okay.
The only way that it wouldn't resolve itself is if you somehow manage to critically injure this before they are able to do it.
Got it. Okay. I thought I was RPing the deck save. Sorry, I misunderstood. Then I will swing at them with my oar.
Is that a two-handed oar or a one-handed oar?
It's bulky.
Then it's a two-handed oar, and you don't have two arms. You only have the one arm free because you're clinging.
Then I'm just trying to grab whatever they're stabbing me.
Okay,
with.
so roll a d4. D4 is unarmed attack. Very good.
Or bad.
No, it's damage.
Oh, okay.
Okay, remember, there's no to hit in this game.
Yeah.
You automatically hit. Okay, you did 4 damage to them, which is very good. Not enough to put them into strength, but definitely very good. And you reach out, maybe you grab their ankle,
Just gonna grab and yeah.
and you just pull, and you can hear their head clink to suddenly knock. It's got like a metallic tinny sound to it, but then they are able to get their attack off at you, and that's going to be just 1 point of damage. Do you go?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You're going to go because you have 0 HP. You're going to go into strength, so I need you to roll a strength save.
Yep. So, oops.
Okay. You managed to succeed, which is great because you're hanging precariously.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm pretty strong.
This means
Pretty big and
yeah. Okay, so you hear her screaming. You guys are about 20 to 5-ish feet below her. Can't really do a whole lot. What do you want to do, Viltra?
So I'm going to try to just hoist myself up so that I can punch him in the nose.
Okay, you're going in. So you're hopping up in, and then no problem. And then you want to attack them with your
Yeah.
oar,
I mean, can
I'm
I get my weapon out and hit him with it?
Sure. Let's roll a dex save to see if you can out quicken them because you're climbing up and they've kind of got you.
Succeed.
Okay. So you're able
very well.
as they're kind of stumbling, reaching and grabbing something on their head. You hop up into the room and hear more footsteps kind of running in this direction. And
I'm gonna yell back like, anytime now.
go ahead and you get your ore out and go ahead and roll. Okay. That is enough to put them exactly at 0. So they are not actually going to be in strength yet.
Do they get scars too?
Yeah, but I'm not going to roll it. I'm not going to roll it. It's not that, actually, scars you don't roll. It's actually based upon how much damage you took to take you to exactly 0. So in this case, it's 1. So it would just be like a battle scar. So I can roll. Basically, where did you hit them?
In the face.
Okay, so like they.
So cheek.
Yeah.
Cheek.
Yep. All right. So it's still very, very dark here, but you're right next to him, so I'm not going to consider this impaired. Meaning, impaired is more difficult to see because they're right next to you, easy to see. Okay. But you hear footsteps approaching as if there's another person in this room. So then the rest of you, none of you can really attack this thing, but are any of you climbing up to try to help?
Well, am I the only one who actually went down to the cart, or?
I don't know. People don't shout out what they're doing sometimes, so I just assume everyone goes.
Well, I'm sitting there. Can I give him another try to get up, I guess?
Okay. Yep, that's fine.
So that'd be in strength.
Okay, Simo and Douglas, where are you guys at? What are you doing?
I haven't decided to go down yet.
Okay,
I had climbed down with
So Douglas, Dieter, Chuffwick are all down in the elevator. Simo, you are still in the statue room, and so you can look across the elevator and you can see a little bit up. So we'll put this at probably about maybe 15 feet across and slightly up. You can see Viltra has just started to climb up inside, and she's beating something. You have your lantern out, so it's probably casting a little bit of light. You can see there is some sort of humanoid figure. You can see sandals, but you can't quite see like their torso. They have sandals and some kind of kilt or skirt. That's about it.
Okay, seeing that they're in danger, I'll help them. I'll back them up. See if I can get up there.
So, if anybody's trying to climb over there, you're gonna have to roll a strength save to try to get over like Viltra did. Okay, Dieter, you're climbing up, no problem. Simo, you struggle, and as you're trying to like kind of do like a little sideways climb across the northern part of the elevator, you almost slip and fall, and you're just kind of hanging there, not quite making progress. Douglas and Chuffwack, what are the two of you doing?
I went down to the hanging elevator.
The two of you are down there. Yes, you just saw Dieter and Viltra both climbed up the elevator shaft, and they got to that other room. The two of you haven't done anything yet.
Is there anything that I notice inside the shaft?
You've got these. You're literally standing on top of two twisted elevator carts. There is a hole in the top of one of them, just like a maintenance entrance and exit in an elevator, where you can hop down into the actual elevator.
But it was super precarious, right?
Oh, it's very dangerous in here.
Do we split the party? No, I'll try and go up.
Okay, go ahead and roll a strength save to try to climb up.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm going to do the same.
Okay. Douglas, you're not able to, but Chuffwick, you're hot on Dieter's heels as the two of you, like spider monkeys, are climbing up the shaft.
Here, you do it like this, right here.
So you notice Viltra as this figure stabs out at you again with their spear. It's going to do 4 damage to you. And a second one moves right up into your orbit, is not able to attack just yet. And now I need you to roll another strength save.
Alrighty.
Intruder, no trespassing.
Succeed.
Unbelievable. You're going to die, but it's going to take me a while to get you down. All right. So at this point, we've got Viltra, Chuffwick, Dieter, and these two other figures. Do any of you have a lantern out?
Chuffwick will pull one out.
Okay, so you pull it out. These two look like Roman, like centurion types. You know, they've got like reddish togas, like that kind of go down to their thighs, but they're covered in like armor of like an old like something you might see in like the HBO series Rome. They have like centurion helmets on and like that kind of vertical slit, and the other one that you're looking at that just ran up is dressed like one of those senators, those orating senators, and is carrying some kind of large scroll and is about to like kind of whack it at Viltra.
Am I able to like rip at any of the fabric?
If you want to, sure, you can go ahead and try to pull on one of their clothes. Sure, go ahead and roll a dexterity save to see how quick you can be at this. So you've got 2 of them. Which one do you want to grab?
I want to grab the orator one.
Okay, so you grab the orator and you pull it, and you can see that first it just looks like you're just tearing the robe off of an old man, and you can see like the very precise and beautiful neoclassic sculpture, and then as if like as it's pulling this colorful robe, or this as it's pulling this white robe, it slowly turns like this colorful tapestry, and you can see behind it it's just this man sort of stuck in marbleistic statue pose behind it.
Nice thinking. Nice thinking.
Okay. Who else is... So, Dieter and Viltra, you're up here. Simo, you're clinging to the side of the elevator. Douglas, you're still on top of the elevator cart.
You just got one of them, right?
Just got one.
I guess I'll try and make an attempt to do the same to the second one.
Okay, dexterity save. See if you can reach out and snatch it. You are unable to, as this is very quickly...
This is Melissa's fault. She's taking all of the good rolls.
Yep.
Can I do the same thing?
Sure, you can give it a try.
I wonder how it's gonna go.
Stop trying to jinx her.
Right?
This thing is a trained,
Fail.
practiced soldier. Simo, what do you want to do?
I gotta stabilize myself and try to get up here.
Okay, strength save. Okay, and
There
you
we go.
manage to shimmy over, and you step out into onto the same floor they are. There's not a whole lot of room anymore. Douglas, what do you want to do? Trapped below by yourself.
Since I don't know what's going on, I'm going to attempt to climb up again.
Okay, go for it. Strength save. And yeah, you're able to climb all the way up, and now everyone's just sort of jamming in around this one dude. It's just like, I don't know what's going on. But he's going to go ahead and lash out, and he's going to lunge at Viltra again with his turn. 4 more damage to Viltra. Strength save, please. Remember, if you get reduced to 0, you're dead. So you can see that this spear just jams right into her body, and she flops to the ground. She has taken critical damage and can't do anything. She is literally dying unless one of you can tend to her.
I have 7 strength left.
Okay, what do you all want to do now? The rest of you, the 4 of you, you've got this one thing here that you're surrounded.
Chuffwick's gonna try and go for his clothes again.
Okay, you're gonna pull out his. Okay, go ahead and roll a little dex save, see if you can grab
And
it.
I failed.
Just manages to. This guy's shifty. Shifty.
I'll try and knock it down.
Okay. Go. You want to just do damage? If anyone's just doing regular damage, roll your damage die now.
Just damage.
Okay. Or is anybody else doing regular damage?
Yeah, I'll just stab it.
Yeah, I will.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Douglas, Dieter, go ahead and roll your damage. Chuffwick, you can't. You
I already went, yeah.
Okay.
I'm not going for damage. I'm gonna try and go for the
Okay.
cloak again.
Okay, so while Chuffwick and Dieter are trying to pull this guy, just trying to pull this tapestry off, and every now and then as it moves, you can see like a shimmering, almost it's like a 3D image, like where something suddenly appears, and you can see that this thing is cloaked in a tapestry of some kind, and you're trying to kind of grab it, yank it off.
Yes, as am I.
You are not doing anything.
Oh, that's right.
The gunfire goes off, and you can see that he just goes flying back, and he just slumps down to the ground and falls with a big old hole in his side.
Welcome to 20th century.
As he sits there, the tapestry begins to slowly fold away, and the image that you saw of this like centurion is replaced by this broken plaster statue with one of its arms that you didn't knock off missing. It's just like been ripped off violently, but it's just slumped there against the ground. These 2 figures are just slumped on the ground. What'd you guys like?
I'm gonna snag that tapestry
Okay.
and just add it to my collection.
Sure.
Gotta see
I don't
Volta's dying.
feel well.
Can I turn on a lantern, see if we can inspect the room a little bit?
Sure. Does anybody actually want to save Viltra's life first?
I do.
Okay, so you tend to Viltra.
She's fine.
While asshole Dieter, she's, I just want to look around first. We'll get to her later. Okay, so you put the light on, you look around, and your suspicion is correct. This does seem to be. You can see that same staircase into the ceiling that goes to nowhere. You can see the same hole in the ceiling that goes up to the master bedroom with the waterbed. This looks to be like a living area, like a kitchen. There's some cabinets, like this faux antique green cabinets. You can see that there appears to be some kind of vent in the ground. This very small vent in the ground, almost like where heating would come out of if somebody had a kind of interior central heating.
Okay.
Is there a way I can kind of rearrange some furniture stuff so I can get up through that hole so I can go grab those tapestries that were on the Shea Lounge?
Sure, yeah. So you just rearrange some stuff, probably make use of the half the staircase. You climb up and you look to see that the bed is empty and the tapestries are no longer on the Chase Lounge.
Uh-oh.
Can I observe like what's on the tapestries that I just like?
Sure. When you look at them, it appears both of them appear to be neoclassical artwork, meaning it looks like ye olden times, like Grecian and Roman type of senatorial debate. One of them you can see there's a group of senators that are kind of arguing with each other. Another one you can see some kind of soldier that looks very much like the figure that you all just attacked is kind of clinging and holding a dying leader in their hands. And then you remember that the crazy monster that you fought in the other room, that same kind of imagery was on that colorful tapestry as well. All of them seem to suggest that whenever these are put upon these statues, they somehow animate into what's ever on these statues. You slowly start to put one over yourself, and the rest of you look on in horror as suddenly Miss Chuffwick is shifted into the visage of an old, wrinkly, balding man with a toga. And Chuffwick, you look and see the same. You feel different, a little lightheaded.
Uh-huh.
You kind of feel vaguely like yourself. You hear voices in the back of your head. Like a distant arguing or somebody who left the TV on in the apartment next door type of thing. You would suspect, and like over the course of a few minutes wearing this, they get a little bit louder and a little bit louder. And while it perfectly shapes you into what you want to be, you would probably worry about wearing this for too long and you might lose yourself in it.
Gotcha.
So,
I would take that back off.
Sure.
I was gonna say,
For
so
sure.
you take it off again, right?
Viltra, you're just kind of slumped against the wall. You've got a bashed in head. You've got a big old wound in your side from where the spear plunged into you. You are literally on death's door with not much health left.
So what do people need to do to try to help me?
They just did. Like, they got you up and they tended to you. Someone has to tend to you, basically.
Okay.
Gotcha.
So you're able to slump around, but unless you see a specialist soon, you're likely you're not long for this world. There doesn't seem to be any other door or way out of this room. There is that vent in the corner.
What about that stairway you were
into,
talking about?
It goes into nothing. It literally goes into the ceiling and just stops.
Oh, it doesn't like go up to the wall or something?
You would guess that like the penthouse here was like cut in half in some way, and the staircase was just left, and the half that was cut away is likely what it connected to.
Okay. Can I inspect the vent?
When you go over there, you hear and you look down and you can see that there is this big kind of hulking half hippopotamus, half crab like monstrosity sitting in this empty room with all sorts of broken pottery around them. You can see that right next to the vent, behind a curtain that looks to have been covering a window when a window once existed here, there's a stack of poetry books.
That sounds frightening, and I don't want to go in that room.
Unless
That's the only way.
one
to
of
go.
you was particularly small, none of you would be able to kind of fit through this vent.
Yeah.
I think we should just return back down, right?
Yeah, we probably should head back to the elevator stuff.
Okay, so you all help each other down. I won't make you roll. And you get back down onto the elevators themselves. What do you want to do? The only way, there's the way back up. The only way down is through the actual carts themselves.
Could I use the sculpting gun to also like stabilize these? Like I did up.
You can use, it would probably take 2, so you can keep
Okay.
1 use. And that you can definitely feel after a moment or two a little bit more secure in this. It's not going to be perfect, but definitely for you all, if any of you tried to put a big lumbering marble statue on these things, it probably would still fall. But you're probably okay for now.
Okay, cool.
All right.
Then I will go inside.
Okay. You hop down and you can see inside the actual the elevators. They, like I said, these are 2 cars that have been like merged and twisted. You can like squeeze through to the other car, and you can see that the bottom of that other car is gone, and underneath it you can see the rest of the elevator shaft, a couple crumpled support beams, and then what looks to be another one of those floor like openings with a gate and with the doors, except instead of vertically on the elevator shaft, it's like horizontally, as if this whole shaft suddenly turned of some kind, but it's open.
Yeah, I'm gonna head towards that shaft.
Okay. So another ladder has been set up here, and when you look down, you can see that there's some kind of twisting, as though the shaft down here isn't flat. It's kind of turning a bit on its like z-axis, so to speak. When you look down, you can see that a bunch of intact sculptures have been piled up at the base of the ladder. And you can see that there's kind of a large, bulky piece of furniture, like a dresser or an armoire, that is tilted and keeping them from sliding down this tilting room. When you peek your head down, you can see all the way at the other end of the room there's a bunch of furniture that has been smashed against the wall, as if it's just kind of slid down the slide. When you look off and up, you can see some kind of doorway leading to a different room, with a traditional, almost relieving to look at door.
It's just a regular door.
Just a regular door. It's the main boss of the dungeon.
Oof. Just a matter of getting there. I've been doing a lot. Does anybody else want to do something?
I think that I'm kind of with you in your exploration, so I'm with you.
Simo, what the hell are you doing?
I'm following along. So is the pile of sculptures, like, does it build up to that door?
No, it kind of looks like someone, like, you've seen these ladders. These are relatively like these probably have been placed recently. You encounter 2 folks down here. Somebody called out, said, "Hey, Staub, is that you?" You're probably getting the sense that you're not the only people who heard this rumor and are on this job. And there might be others in here as well. Because they did shout out like, "Oh, we got dibs on this." So there could be more people down there. And likely these are all intact. They look pristine. Most of them are busts. You don't see any like huge human. They're like much more manageable and movable than these like huge. Like they're very precise looking.
We should try and keep these intact if possible.
How the hell are we gonna get these out of this house? They're huge. And we climbed up a crane to get here.
Is anyone going into the room?
Yeah, is the slant of the room, like, we're able to stand in there without sliding?
Yeah, you gotta be conscious of it. Like if you were being lackadaisical, you'd probably slip and fall. But if you're conscious of it, you're fine.
Yeah, let's try moving up.
Okay. Okay. So when you When you look around the room, like I said, there's bunch of a bunch of furniture that has seemed to have slid down to the side. You start to hear, Simo, the sound of piano playing somewhere in the distance, likely through that door. You can see that there's a bunch of these fairly nice looking pieces of upholstered furniture, some floral chairs, some leather couches that are in that stack at the bottom side of the room.
Can I decipher what's being played? Is it Beethoven?
No, this isn't actually, Earth. It's just
Okay.
that era. It's got this kind of haunting, strange, dissonant melody to it. Kind of gives you the willies.
There might be someone else on the other side. Statue or human?
So
Well, let's take a peekaboo.
you got the busts in the center that are being propped up by this heavy piece of furniture that didn't slide all the way down to the bottom. There's a bunch of really nice looking furniture at the bottom. Then there's the door that seems to lead towards wherever this music is playing. There's the ladder going back up. What do y'all want to do?
I want to check out the thing that's propping up the statues.
It's a pretty-
that piece.
It's a pretty heavy piece as you get to the other side. It's an armoire, and when you open it up, you can see that like some weighted stuff has been put inside. Also, it appears to have been hammered into the floor.
Are there any tapestries or anything inside?
Nope, don't see any of those. You see
Okay.
some fabrics and stuff in the pile on the bottom side, but you're not sure if they're tapestries or just like the upholstery of the furniture.
She's gonna go look at the fabric.
Okay. So you slowly move your way down. When you're looking, most of this stuff is pretty pristine. Antiques, for sure. Well kept. You likely imagine these haven't been used in quite some time. Some of them, unfortunately, have been broken from the slide, but a lot of them are still intact. The main draw of this job was certainly the art, but if somehow you could find a way to get the hell, these things are way too bulky to do that, but if somehow there's a couple pieces in here that probably could be sold pretty nicely. You notice that there's this one specific chair that's got some irregular stitching that doesn't seem to match the places where you would normally stitch and fold the upholstery over the cushioning of a chair.
Like, what is the design on it? Anything in particular?
No, just floral.
Okay.
It's
I
folded
guess
like it's removable.
Go
ahead.
It's,
Go ahead, Derek.
It's literally just a upholstered chair, and there's just some erratic stitching. What are you gonna say, Derek?
Oh, I was just gonna say something. We could take a chair with us, so I'll just like try and remove the fabric from the actual structure of the furniture.
You rip away, and you find hidden inside bags, and they clinkle. And when you look inside, you can see there's some silver in here, a couple small gems. This looks to be someone's hideaway. So this looks like about maybe 100 to 200 pounds worth, depending on who you can sell this to.
Ooh.
Nice.
Do we want to go in that door?
Yeah, it
Think
seems like it's the
so,
only
yeah.
way.
Okay. When you pop open that door, you enter a hallway, but it's a very short hallway because you look off to your left and there's a brick wall. You look off to your right, about 15 feet away, there is a brick wall. But before that brick wall on the left is looks like another door, but they're like these ornate double doors, lacquered, this beautiful wood. One of them appears to have suffered some recent trauma, as if someone busted it open. And most certainly you can tell at this point that the music is coming from inside that room.
Well, let's take a little looky-loo.
When you peek inside, you can see this beautiful polished flooring. You can see that to your right there's this upended bar with all sorts of bottles and glasses on the ground around it. You can see that on the other side of the room, there is this spiral staircase that's kind of moving on a strange angle, like a corkscrew, into the upper corner of a room where, much like a submarine hatch, appears to lead somewhere else. And then, of course, in the middle of the room, there is this large grand piano where one of those strange tentacle monsters is sitting there playing it. And they're like kind of humming and singing along.
Gonna sneak up behind it and try to remove the tapestry.
Okay, you got to go ahead and roll a dex save.
All right, let's get an actual good one for once.
Roll well, roll well.
You know, it's not meant for everybody.
You take 3 steps in and you step on a champagne flute. And this creature immediately turns around and looks at you. And you can see this writhing face. And they play a wrong note, like clink. And then they look at you.
Is he singing memories?
No, he wasn't. I was just making weird sounds, but now he is. And he seems to turn back around and continue playing piano. You can see there's all sorts of like martini glasses and stuff that have been set up on top of the piano. Like a whole run of them.
The way out of this room is the spiral staircase?
That's what it looks like. There's also there's like an upended bar with a bunch of bottles and glasses on the ground to your right. And then there's like just a handful of what you think are sort of dining chairs, just like stacked up in the corner. This likely was some kind of communal dining or ballroom, but those look to be out of service. Like a lot of them are broken bits, stuff like that. Nothing like the nice furniture you saw in the previous room. It's just like circular tables, wooden chairs that have not lasted well.
Gotcha.
Can Vilta investigate the bar and just see if there's anything like behind the bar?
Sure. You head over to the bar, and there's quite a few broken bottles and broken glasses, but there are some intact liqueurs, and wines that you imagine would probably be worth something to somebody.
Snatch them.
Grab those.
As you do that, you hear a clink, and the creature that's playing piano looks at you and roars. And one of its tentacles wraps around the very, very edge of the tentacle, one of the martini glasses, and brings it up to one of the mouths on their face and begins to drink, and then places it back down, and you can see that it is empty.
I will mix it a drink.
Okay. What kind of drink you want to mix it?
It was drinking a martini, so I will.
It's a martini glass. Could be a cosmopolitan. Could be one of the.
Wow.
Appletini. No, you
Could
make
be
it.
an appletini.
Could be an apple. It's definitely an appletini. But you make it. You make it a martini. Do you put in olives? This is it. This is the big one here. Don't forget, you have like no health.
I said neat.
Did I see a little stick that there were olives?
You did in fact
Okay.
see some toothpicks.
Then I will go ahead and put olives.
Okay, so you go ahead and put some rotten, old, nasty olives. And then what do you do?
I put the drink on top of the bar to see if it's just gonna like tentacle reach it to the bar.
It does. Tentatively takes a sip, just a sip, puts it back down, like in its other mouth, because there's at least 2 crooked mouths on its face, and then goes back to playing this hauntingly beautiful memory, or this song, and just starts singing.
No, that's what it's singing.
Is that?
So thumbs up to everybody. We can jet over to the staircase. If nobody
Yeah,
else
I'm
wants
gonna
to do anything.
carefully. I don't want to step on anything.
Okay. So you shuffle across, and that seems to have calmed it. And you begin to ascend this spiral metallic staircase. It's on like a 45-degree angle, so it's a really weird, like you're half stepping, half crawling. It's almost like a jungle gym for children. But eventually you pop through that little hatch, and you are on another room that also is like on another 45-degree angle, kind of continuing, almost like these series of strange like container cars that have been placed in weird Jenga style. But when you look in, this room is on almost an even steeper angle. You can see that there's cables all over the floors that are running, like these metallic cables that seem to be piercing the walls and the ceiling. You can see up about 15 to 20 feet ahead of you on your right, there is a door that looks very much like a safe that seems to be leading up into the ceiling. And you also see that there are 3 figures that seem to be placing explosives on this vault. 2 of whom look very similar, like these paunchy-looking folks. One woman, a little bit heavy. She's got heavy makeup on. They're both wearing fishnet stockings, and you can see that she's got her hair in curlers. She kind of turns to look at you, while the other 2, they've got those colorful suspenders, and she's like,
Okay, sweetheart, who are you and why are you in my business?
and you can see that in her belt, underneath her big old gut, she's got this gun that she slowly takes out.
Who are you? Right now.
And she turns it on the side, like kill shots up.
The moment that I see Miss Cufflack sees these people, she's got another one, and she's just gonna launch it at him.
Roll a dex save to see if you get to go before them.
And she fails.
Okay.
Aw.
Rest of you,
She's got the shakes.
rest of you, go ahead and roll dex save as well. All right. So we got Dieter.
I want you to know that's only the second success I've had this entire game.
I mean, roll better stats, man. Dieter and Vilta is still actually her dex is pretty high. All right, so Dieter, Vilter, and Simo will get to go.
I'm also the most likely to die.
Okay.
So I will have rolled well.
All right, so Dieter, Vilta, and Simo, you all can go before they do. What do you want to do?
I'm gonna attack the woman with the gun, with my cane.
Okay, so you're gonna charge in and you're gonna attack the woman who looks like what's her name from that Drew Carey show.
Oh, Mimi.
Yes.
Mimi, thank you. That's what she looks like, except she's got like this fishnet stocking on.
Wait, did Mimi used to like have that really like quiet? Or am I thinking of someone
I was
else?
gonna do Rebecca Nurse, but you had already done it. But I can do Rebecca Nurse.
All right, but you see that. So now remember, these 3 get to go first. You guys all have to figure out. So the 3 of you, who are you attacking? What are you doing? So Dieter is declaring his target as Mimi, or Staub.
Mm-hmm.
What are Vilta and Simo doing? If you want to declare her as your target, you have to do so now. But you can do something else too.
if we don't call it, we can call someone else though.
Yeah,
It doesn't have to.
there's two other figures in here with her.
But she's the one pulling out a gun. So.
Yeah, the other 2, similar to you've seen before, just have like tools and stuff with them, like wrenches and crowbars and things.
Can you explain the wires again? I didn't
There's
quite
like
catch that.
it's like electrical cables that seem to be they don't seem to be connected to anything that they're doing, but they're like running up the incline, and they kind of snake up the walls and pierce into the ceiling where the vault is going. As if they're connecting to something on the other side of the ceiling.
Okay. I'll just assist in the attacker then.
Okay.
I'll attack
Okay.
the big boss.
All right. Who else? So that's Simo. That's Dieter. Vilta, what are you doing?
I'm going to try to chuck a crowbar at her.
Okay. So you're also going to attack her too.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
want to stay back a bit.
Okay. So the 3 of you, and you're not going to have your crowbar after that.
Yep.
Okay. So the 3 of you can go ahead and roll your damage die as you're all attacking her. Oh, Dieter.
What is a crowbar?
D6.
D6?
Okay. So again, we only take the highest die. We don't add them all together. But all of you are effectively throwing and stabbing. So Simo and Dieter come trudging. It's not easy, by the way, coming up here. It's a much difficult climb. It's definitely leg day at the gym. You can feel it burning in your calves and in your thighs as you're climbing up. But as she's like fumbling to get her gun out, Simo, you manage to just jab a knife right into her while a cane just gets whacked up inside of her head. And if that wasn't enough, this crowbar, donk, right off her head, goes banking to the ground. And so she will take 6 points of damage, but that does not put her into anything yet. Okay, then Then it's their turn. And so she is going to, seeing Simo is the one, like, you little brat, you. So she's got her pistol. I don't know if she actually can use it since you're in range.
I don't think so.
So since you engaged her.
Ashley has all the tapestries, right?
Yeah, you guys have been carrying it in like a bag or something. Pretty sure you can't. So instead, so she can't use that. So you see her just pull like off her belt this just little hand axe. It looks to be like half axe on one side, pick on the other for like hacking things down, and she will just slam it over the top of Simo's head. And the other two, one of them will also target Simo. The other one will go after Deep. One of them will close on the group that's staying back. Will close in on Viltra. And chase it. So it'll be 2 on Simo, 1 on Viltra. All right, so 2d6s. The higher one will hit Simo. So Simo, take 2 points of damage. What does that do to you?
Puts me to 2.
Okay, so you're good. You're fine. The next one, the other one is charging at the crossbow, and he's just kind of sliding down, and he just whacks you upside the head with the crowbar there, Viltra, for 6 points of damage.
Oh, they have one left.
Go ahead and roll a dex save. You got to roll 1, only a 1. You immediately fall to the ground, dying. If you take any more damage, you are dead.
Oh gosh.
Then Chuffwack and Douglas. What do the two of you want to do? You cannot attack her, however. If you have an AoE blast thing, you can do that. That's fine. But now they're up, so you've got Dieter and Simo that are going to also. So you have to make that decision.
I picked up a crowbar, so I'm gonna hit the guy who attacked Viltra.
So you're gonna run over. You're gonna like step over to Viltra. Okay, what are you gonna do, Douglas? Before don't roll your damage yet. So what do you want to do, Douglas?
I would also attack the person who hit Vita.
Okay, so both of you go ahead and roll your damage die.
Just a d6.
Okay.
2.
You managed to wing this one a little bit, but like everything happened so fast. He was sliding on a weird angle, and you can see the bullet gets like a little bit of his clothes, and it's like a graze. But it does distract him long enough for Chuffwick to just like knock him over the head. He'll take 2 points of damage then. All right. So
I wonder what would happen if you were to cover one of them in a tentacle.
I don't want to fight a tentacle.
Yeah, but it might disrupt. It might disrupt the whole group, though. Just thoughts.
It's an option. It's a distraction type of thing.
They're working together. If you cover one with a tentacle thing, it may not just fight against us. They might fight amongst each other.
So the one that you managed to clop over the head, while the gunshot didn't quite get it, the clank over the top of the head, you see it just collapses. This guy just collapses right on top of Viltra. Just, like whatever he hit it, he actually failed his strength save because he went into strength.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yep. Combat in this game is very, very quick. The idea is that if it ain't done by round 3, it should have been done by round 3, basically. Like
Gotcha. Okay.
Round 1 is like opening salvo. Round 2, it's like, okay, did we do well enough in round 1 to continue this, or do we need to change tactics? And then round 3, someone's gonna die, like someone's losing, right? That's kind of how it is. All right, so then all of you can go ahead and roll another dex save to see if you guys can go before them or not, because this is just full on craziness. All right.
Not me, right?
No, you're dying.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. So Dieter is the only one who's going to get to go before them. Dieter, you've got 2 people right in front of you. You've got Staub and this lackey, both of whom were wailing away at Simo.
I'm going to go after Staub.
Okay. So go ahead and roll your damage. All right. So you're able to do 2. That will put her into what's it called? Territory.
Strength.
Critical damage territory. She will pass, actually, just barely. It's exactly 14. And so she is not yet, but she will take. She won't take a scar. She went below. Sorry, but she is into her strength now. Hit protection gone. Okay, then they're going to get to go. She will turn around and whack you with her with the axe, and the other one will go ahead and continue to wail on Simo. So first one will be the attack on Dieter with the axe. Takes 6 points as she just takes the axe right into the back of your neck. What does that put you at?
So my HP was 4.
Okay.
So do I take 2 to my strength, or do I take all 6 to my strength?
No, you deplete your HP first, and then the remainder goes to your strength. And now I need you to roll a strength save to see if you took critical damage. And you did. Ooh. This hack on the back of your neck, you see Dieter collapse to the ground, and you can see like spurts of blood, like comically Tarantino style, splurting up out of that. Simo, this guy's going to turn around and attack you for 5 damage.
Yeah, that'll drop me below.
Okay, go ahead and roll your strength save.
This probably won't go well.
Just roll low. One's always a success. Okay.
Oh.
And so this one with the crowbar clanks him to the side, and you can see blood just splurt out to the side. And now there's a pile of Simo and Dieter standing as these other two are also, kind of covered in blood here and there. Chuffwack and Douglas, you have managed to take out the lackey that is flopped on top of Vitra. Vitra seems to be struggling as well. You just saw your 2 allies fall down in front of you.
Would you say that they're sliding down the angle?
I would not. But because Dieter had already attacked, what's her name? You guys can go after the lackey if you want. The lackey hasn't been attacked, so the 2 of you can take shots at the lackey.
All right.
Can I throw my smoke bomb?
You do it, will do damage to them, which could kill you.
Okay.
Just so you know.
I probably should not do that.
Okay.
I am in severe debt. It's okay if I die.
You're all in severe debt. Chuffwack, go ahead and roll your damage die.
I am going to.
Okay. All right. So that, in fact, actually moves him to 0 HP, which means he gets a scar. Another he takes a shot in the hand or something. All right. So then at this point, with everyone kind of falling, a new round begins. This is 3rd round. You're kind of staring at each other at this point. Chuffwack, Douglas, what do you want to do? People are falling. Things are getting confused, but this is likely going to be it one way or the other.
We should probably commit.
Both of you can...
The only thing I could think of is just throwing the spice that I have at them to cause them to either hallucinate or not be concentrated on us so much.
Both of them look pretty beat up as well. So remember, you just have to declare your targets, and then you roll your damage on your targets. If that's what you want to do. If there's something other creative thing you want to do, by all means, go right ahead.
I want to take one of the tapestries, like the orator guy one, and run at the lady and just kind of throw it over her.
Okay. I will say, I just want to remind you that you had no trouble taking it off.
True, but I like want to throw it over her and then push her down the slope.
Okay. Roll a dex save to see if you can get there fast enough and throw this over top of her. And that's success. So you run up, throw it over top of her, give her a quick kick in the butt, and she's gonna kind of go stumbling down and slam into the wall. Go ahead and roll a D4 for damage.
D4.
Okay.
2.
All right, so I have to roll a strength save here. I need a 12 or less. So she is still lumbering around inside of that tapestry. Douglas, you can take out the lackey. Probably.
Yeah, I guess I'll just do that.
Go for it. Okay, so the lackey will go ahead and save. We'll need to roll a save. I will need to roll a 6 or lower to save. And I rolled a natural 20, which is a automatic fail. This guy, you just look and you just put a bullet right in its forehead. He just kind of stares at you. And then falls down head first and
down he
slides slowly down the incline into the pile of bodies that are slowly starting to amass at the door. She's going to, so what she's going to do is she's going to expend her turn getting up and pulling the damn thing off of her. So we'll say she loses her turn, but she's still kicking. She's right next to you, so why don't both of you just roll your damage die and see if you can kill her. And that is a huge shot as she takes the tapestry off, and Douglas is right there ready. And so I need a 6 or less. And I rolled a natural 1. She is still alive, and she will turn to Douglas, and she will take a swing with her axe at Douglas, dealing 2 damage. What does that put you at?
I have 2 hit protection left.
Okay, then you're fine. Round comes around. She is...
We could have made a deal, you fucking idiots. Jeez, what's wrong with you? Look at what you've done.
And like you guys are standing on top of all these dying bodies. What do you want to do?
I'm going to attack her.
Okay, both of you go ahead, roll your damage again. Finish her off. And I need a roll of 4 or less. I do not. So Chuffwack and Douglas managed to finish her off. And you can see that she's just...
Business.
Chuffwack just kind of like laughs and then just smacks her across the face.
Jeez. You take
and then she'll turn around and I'll go to start like stabilizing everybody.
Okay, so you take a moment to try to help people out. Say if you can say Viltra looks literally like if she just trips, she's probably gonna die. You guys rest. Get your HP back. Those of you that can. Then you got this vault. You can see that they've already adhered what look to be explosives to the door, and they have like this fuse that has been drawn, but they haven't done anything yet. What do you want to do?
Let's get to a safe distance and pop that bad boy open.
What's a safe distance for you guys? What you thinking?
Viltra needs to go very far away because Viltra has one.
Probably back to the hallway. That's probably the best place to go.
All right. So does somebody stay back to light the fuse?
Yeah, I can do it.
Okay, so you stay back, light the fuse. You go running and quickly scammering down the twisted staircase into the room with the piano playing Monstrosity, who is still sipping away at that martini, taking their time. Doesn't seem to be aggressive towards you now that they're satiated with that booze. And then all of you suddenly hear this massive explosion followed by a clackety clack clack clack. And when you go back into the hallway, you can see that the metal vault door has been blown off its hinges, and it's still mostly intact, but it's completely off the hinges, leaving an open entrance into some kind of room above. That's dark, but can't really see what's in it. What do you want to do?
I'm gonna take my lantern and like attach it to the end of my broom.
Sure.
And just kind of hold it up in there.
You see a lot of wires and cables and some metal framing, but the angle isn't right to really see into the room. You'd have to climb up to get a better view of everything in there.
I'll provide light.
Yeah, I'll just climb up in there.
Douglas, you climb up, and when you look inside, you can see that there are all sorts of metal frames with these very intricately thin wires that's connecting them. This like almost like this large metallic metallic port. This large rectangular, like a huge computer, like an old-fashioned computer. And there seems to be like these little rectangular outports, like a computer printer. You see a corpse sitting or like slouched down. It's definitely a corpse. You can see the skin has certainly started to erode. There's some red hair. It's a woman, well dressed with a very beautiful hat and veil. And you can see that a lot of these cables do not seem to be connecting. When you look at it more closely, it kind of looks like a loom. And you look around the room and you see no other way out of here. This is most certainly the vault. But you got the frames.
So this is where
you've got a
she made the
corpse.
tapestries.
Yeah,
Can I go inspect the corpse?
Oh, so now you're going inside. Thought you were just providing light.
I mean, I was.
You climb up, you go inside. She's red-haired, very well-dressed, beautiful hat. You start looking, and it appears that they've been dead 4 weeks. And you can see that they have... she's got this... while there is... It's almost like a... what are those things called? Not a business suit, but like she's got like skirts as well. She's like kind of skirt, but like a business top, and she's got like a double-breasted top and like a little pocket that you pull these business cards out that appear to be for a gallery / art dealer, and identifies it itself as Folsom and Associates and Company and Incorporated.
Okay.
Which you know is somewhere along in the Painted Boroughs district, is just one of several art galleries.
Gotcha.
And you can see that she seems to she also has like an identification card, like an employee badge that identifies her as somebody who works there.
Gotcha.
And then you have that big old giant kind of computer thing that connects to the loom, all sorts of cables, metal framing.
I mean, inspect the computer and see like if it's got any tags on it or anything like that, any type of licensing.
When you look at it, you can see that there is a fairly long serial number that's been etched into it. All sorts of numbers, then an M, more numbers, and then a B, more numbers, then AL, more numbers, then M, more numbers, then Y. M. Balmy, interspersed with a bunch of numerical digits. This is some sort of peculiar machine. All of you would be familiar with strange machinery that comes up out of the underground, takes our jobs, some of you would know. This appears to be some kind of machine capable of making tapestries of the most intricate designs possible.
So the artist didn't die, the dealer died.
And you see all sorts of cables that are unconnected currently.
Can I start connecting cables?
And as you do, you start to hear the warming up of this, whatever this equipment is. You can hear things moving around, like a dot matrix printer from the 80s getting ready to go. And then after a moment or so, you can see the looms begin to, as something starts to be rapidly sewn. This small little tapestry gets shot out, and you look at it, and it's just horrifying to look at. This horrible bestial demon-like thing just starting to devour what looks to be a small child. Then it starts to begin to, you see this huge tentacle monster wrapping itself around a tower, pulling it down to a backdrop of Armageddon in a city. And it just keeps, every little tiny piece comes out. It becomes more and more chaotic. All of you start to get those willies again.
Can I go over to the computer and see if there's any way to direct what it's outputting?
It does appear to have once had controls, but they do not seem to be functional anymore. They do not seem to be responsive. It seems to be stuck on some kind of autopilot.
Just to avoid any more monsters roaming around, I'm going to unplug some of those cables so that it stops functioning.
As you do so, as it stops and the loom goes silent once more.
I just look over at I forget her name, starts with C. Chuffwick. I'm like, how about we not have more monstrosities to create?
Can I examine the body and see what its cause of death was?
Strangulation. Definitely.
Self-inflicted?
No.
What?
You see little suction cup symbols. A tentacle monster likely strangled this thing to death. Self-inflicted.
Maybe you felt guilty about supplying this stuff.
Yeah, but you'd pass out before you could finish yourself off.
Oh God, you went a different route than he did.
Oh,
Jeez,
no.
You guys are just different directions there with that one.
Is there a belt connected to a doorknob somewhere?
Good thing we're on our own channel tonight. We can say what we want. Okay.
All right.
So this loom is what's the valuable thing here.
Yes.
Yeah, but it also seems to be broken and producing increasingly dangerous and terrifying looking images. But
Can we repair the loom?
you can't, but there's most likely there's a specialist for everything in Bastion. You could probably find the right person. However, this thing is huge and bulky and intricate, and trying to remove it from this vault is near impossible. You would need to bring someone here and escort them inside, possibly, to do such a thing.
But the problem is lots of other people know about this, and we're clearly not the only ones coming here to find this.
Right.
Hmm.
I still think the wires do something. Are they lead somewhere? Can I follow?
They just connect to the computer base that
All
that
those
operates the
wires
loom.
do?
Yeah, all of the wires into this room just start connecting to that computer base that operates the loom.
So we need somebody to repair it. None of us can repair it, so we've got to go get somebody to come here.
Should we call a repairman? Like, hey, we got it.
We don't have cell phones. I don't.
He's gonna need to bring some vodka and some
Olives, some
some
fresh
olives.
olives.
Yeah.
You guys know how to make a martini. Okay, so you got a couple choices. You could take what you have and leave, and hope that some of the tapestries that you picked up, these magical oddities, would likely fetch, would probably fetch a decent price and would put a good chunk into your debt. You could try to bring someone back here, but who knows what state it'll be in when you.
I think we might want to just destroy it and leave and take this stuff with us. I mean, we can't take it with us, and it's obviously creating monstrosities and horrible things. And if this were getting in the hands of someone else, it'd be awful. So I say we just destroy it, take what we can, and get out of here.
I mean, we could have it just make some more tapestries to try and sell. We just have to not put them on statues.
People.
Or people.
Or people.
True.
Sure.
Not
So
dead people.
we print out enough that we think would sufficiently cover our debt, break it, and leave.
I mean, I don't even think we need to break it. Just unplug it and then.
This is obviously some type of monstrosity creating
We should-
machine, and you wanted to just
I want to
Go
bring
out
somebody
into the
back to
wild?
try and fix it.
Okay.
I'm gonna break it
Is there a way
Okay.
to like
after we're done making the stuff we need to make.
Okay.
is there a way to disconnect enough of the cables that we could take the cables with us? So that like if somebody else tried to do it, they wouldn't be able to just plug stuff back in like we did. Like they'd actually have to
Sure.
like
You can
come
take
in,
that.
find it. So I would want to just grab a bunch of the cords.
You
So
would
maybe
know,
we don't
though-
destroy it, we just disable it.
Sure, you can further disable it, but you know that if somebody does bring a specialist here, they could probably replace a lot of these parts. Somebody who is a machinist who knows about these things, but they
We're
would first
not
have
the
to get
only
there.
ones that know about this place, and we're seeking it
At the
out.
very least, there were 2 treasure hunting groups that were sent here from various.
So we're not
companies.
gonna be the last.
And there's this Folsom and Associates and Company Incorporated that also seems to have known about this too. This body has
Yeah.
probably been dead for a few weeks.
This is something bad. We should destroy it.
Simo and Douglas, why don't you chime in? What do you think?
Yeah, I'm on the side of destroying it.
Okay, Simo.
Yeah, we don't need to get greedy here. We got a job well done.
Okay.
Print out a few more things, bash it up.
Okay. So you print out the last of what you can. There is a limited amount of thread, by the way. It's not like an unlimited amount
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
material, but it does print up. So you I think after all is said and done, you probably have about 6 pristine tapestries, and then like I think 2 or 3 torn up ones that have been shot and torn and things like that. So the pristine ones you'll certainly sell those for a lot more. You have to find the right. You're gonna have to find the right person to sell that to, because you're not just gonna give the tapestries over to the Slugburn Pest Control. You're gonna have to. They want pounds. They want money.
Is there a way that I could pull that plate off? The
What
one that had
plate?
the numbers and the letters and everything, like
Sure.
the identifier. I
Yeah.
want to pull that off.
Sure. Okay.
Are there any of those busts or statues that are small enough to take with us?
You could probably get a couple, but you would want to be very careful about how much you bring, lest you put too much weight and stress.
Also, not put it in the same bag
Okay.
as the tapestries.
All of a sudden, you're getting strangled from behind. What's happening? Okay, so you go ahead and do you destroy it, or do you just disconnect it? Because I thought there was 3-2.
I vote
It is,
destroy.
yeah. I just wanted to take the plate before they
Okay.
destroyed it.
So, with Miss Chuffwax, like back turned, you guys smash it to bits as best you can.
It was like that when we found it.
Yeah, you hear a rumbling upon doing so.
And Miss Chuffwack just turns around and goes, "You're really stupid." And
Don't act like you know what this machine's capable of.
So as you back out, you feel this rumbling, this earthquake-like presence. And then in the hallway, that slanted hallway where you fought Staub and her lackeys, you see something punching up from the floor, like trying to push and push up as it... And all of a sudden, exploding up out of it, you see these awfully, these awful claws kind of come out as if it's trying to pull itself
was
up.
it that hippo one?
It is not. That was up higher, actually. This is something much worse.
Oh, God.
But it's struggling to get up. So what are you all doing? Are you all sticking around? Or
We're just
No, I want to get
I'm gonna
out.
hoof it.
Running.
fuck out. Okay. So you
Running.
all start running. As you look over your shoulder, you see bursting as the last person is going down the corkscrew staircase. You look around and you see the largest monstrosity yet that fills the entire room. This huge impressionistic masterpiece with all of these impressionistic style brushstrokes here and there. And it's this lumbering thing with this massive mouth, these two huge claws, and it's just scraping along the walls. And as it starts to move, the hallway that was on like that 45-degree angle just falls, just flattens down, and then suddenly the next room above it flattens down, the room that had the vault in it, and you can feel the whole apartment building suddenly begin to sort of shake, and this thing is sort of pushing through and smashing through the wall into the piano room. It can't fit through that tiny hatch, so it's just bursting down the actual wall itself. How do you guys want to get the hell out of here? As the entire building seems to be on the verge of collapsing.
Is there any like breaks in an outside wall we can jump out of?
You know that you know where the exterior likely is, and you know that you're probably near the bottom, but you would still be dropping below the apartment building to the stilts, and there's about a 2-story drop to the ground. But you can certainly try to bust out an exterior wall if you really wanted to.
We're gonna have to go back up to the roof and get back over to the crane. What else are we gonna do?
The whole building's falling, so we're going to climb up?
So you want to go to the bottom?
And you can see a
wanna,
huge
go out
chunk
to the
of
side.
wall plaster goes flying, and it hits the piano playing monstrosity, who's like,
No!
and he just goes running over and starts hiding behind the actual bar, and this big creature, like the Kool-Aid Man, into this ballroom, has to be 20 feet, 30 feet tall, kind of like hunkering underneath as if it's the back is starting to push up to the ceiling. You guys make it out into the hallway and then into the room that also is angled, that has the furniture on the other side, and this thing is chasing after you, just knocking things left and right as it goes, and you can feel everything's kind of collapsing. You see dirt, and you see all sorts of like plaster from the ceilings and the walls begin to fall. All these various fixtures of lighting begin to crack. Are you climbing? Are you going to try to climb up the shaft and get out?
Miss Chuffwick's going to throw one of her bombs at one of the exterior walls.
Okay.
And take her chance with the water that's outside.
Okay, so you throw a smoke bomb.
Yeah.
And it explodes. Roll a d6. See how much damage it does.
Do a lot of damage.
No!
Not
And
one damage.
It doesn't seem to. It kind of gets through the first layer of the kind of inner like concrete, like the sheetrock, but you can still see behind it. There's a lot of kind of like almost like there's like sheetrock over top of brick. Does anyone else have any sort of explosive or heavy equipment that they could use to try to break through the wall?
I just have that ore.
I have a crowbar.
Crowbar would probably take. Either way, you're taking a risk. You have a choice: climb up or try to knock through with crowbars and whatever other like hand tools you have to try to break out.
I'm gonna keep it running while they're doing that.
You're gonna climb up. You're gonna climb up. Okay, done. You guys can make your own decisions. You don't have to make it as a group.
Yeah, I'm gonna climb up. I'm climbing up.
All right, 2 of you are running up.
I'm gonna keep working at the wall. I have one more smoke bomb if I could try it.
Okay, so you throw a second one. Viltra, what are you doing?
I'm going to be with...
Viltra will help out with her ore.
Yeah, I'm also going to help because I have no strength and I can't climb.
Okay, so don't forget that you guys did connect a cable, so there was a cable you could climb. Viltra and Douglas, if you're sticking around, go ahead and roll damage. What kind of weapons or things are you trying to use? Okay.
Broken ore because a gun doesn't make sense.
Okay, so you just keep like hacking away with this like wooden ore and like cleaving with a crowbar. You're kind of cutting through the mortar of the brick, and that's when you hear as behind you the wall that had that small, really normal and relaxing looking door suddenly explodes, and then there's this hulking creature that can't even fit really in the room itself. It's just kind of screeching down, and it's almost like it's crawling towards you with these huge lobster-like claws. Simo and Dieter, No, they're gonna.
Can I pull?
No,
okay.
hang on. Dieter and Simo, go ahead and roll Dex saves for me, please.
Dieter succeeded.
Go on without me, Dieter.
Did Simo fail?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry about it.
All right. So.
And I will remember you.
The two of you are climbing. Dieter is slightly ahead, and as you, Dieter, as you climb above, as you're kind of going up, you look behind you and you see Simo's getting ready to grab onto the cable to start climbing, and then all of the shuddering and slamming of the building from this huge creature has dislodged the two twisted cars, and it just crashes, and you see Simo falling down with it. Simo, roll a strength save.
No.
9.
Oh my god!
You can see, amazingly, he somehow seems to be okay. He's dusting himself off, but he is a good about 20 feet short of that cable. He can't quite meet it. Dieter, do you do anything to help him, or you just run and save yourself?
I don't have anything to help him with.
Then you turn and run?
Yeah.
Okay, and you're just... Simo will come back to you in a minute. Go ahead, Ashley. What were you going to do with Miss Chufwick?
I was wondering if I pull out the tapestries and I cover us and make us statues, did it attack the other statue in that one room?
You didn't stick around long enough. The last thing you saw was it bursting through the wall and like something hit it. You don't know exactly what happened after that.
Oh, fuck.
I kind of want to just like flatten myself against the wall and just see if it's so big that it's just going to come in and basically like break the wall open for us. That's what I'm kind of hoping might happen.
It's as wide as the whole room.
Right. So I'm kind of hoping that like it's not really
you have 1 health.
Able to focus on
That's
us.
true.
You have 1 strength left. I just want to remind you. It might do that, but it also do blast damage hitting anybody in the area. So
how close are we to breaking through the wall?
I mean, not very.
Not at all.
It's you're hitting with wooden oars and a crowbar.
I shoot it.
Okay, you shoot it and you see that helps.
I mean, fuck it, I'm gonna die. Whatever.
That helps. That certainly helps. And you see a brick explodes at that point, and you can continue, and that'll probably help a little bit. But this thing's now in the room with you, and it's sliding down towards you. Chefwick, what are you doing?
I want to do the statue thing.
You throw these things on top of yourself. Or everybody as you just
all of us.
Okay, and this thing looks around and then hears the elevator crash above, and then starts with these huge lobster claws is starting to hack away at the ceiling above. Simo, roll a strength save to try to climb up to the cable. Okay.
Oh god.
Oh no.
So you're trying
Simo!
you're trying to climb up and you can't quite make it, and that's when like the ceiling underneath the shaft gives way from the claws of the lobsters, and then the entire shaft, where the elevators are, on top of which you're standing, collapses once again down into the room as it just cascades off this huge behemoth. Simo, go ahead and roll a strength save to see if you survive the fall.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
Oh no.
All right, you will take 6 points of damage. What does that do to you?
Puts me at 2
2?
strength.
Roll
Still alive.
a strength save.
Oh my god.
Okay. And as the rubble from the ceiling and from the elevators begin to like dissipate, you can see Simo is laying there, blood kind of pouring out from the three of you who are currently underneath these tapestries, just kind of standing still in the corner by the hole, the burgeoning hole in the exterior wall. You see him; he's breathing. Do you do anything? Do any of you do anything?
I'm reaching for the apple that rolled out from me.
And it's rolling slowly down, but the room is starting to slowly tilt
I'll
back and level.
move in my tapestry and see if it if it pays attention to me.
Dex save, please.
Okay.
You slowly, you quickly, and then you just chuck a tapestry on top of him, just as his claws, and then it starts poking him like, and then it looks up at the hole in the elevator, and it reaches its giant lobster claws up into the elevator, and begins climbing up it. You can see all sorts of cables and metal starting to fall down. You quickly slide Simo away. You do whatever you can to settle him, and then Douglas continues shooting, and eventually you create a hole in the side. It's about a 20-foot drop. Dieter, I'm gonna switch over to Dieter really quick.
Yeah,
Dieter, you're climbing up, everything's kind of shaking and moving. You make it back up to the rooftop. No one's following. No one's behind you. You're looking around. You can see that above you, about 10 feet above you, is the crane. What do you want to do?
Didn't mean to do that.
Okay. What do you want to do? You can feel the apartment beginning to shimmy a little bit.
I didn't pick up anything. Can I rearrange whatever's on this roof to get closer to the crane and then hook onto it with my cane?
Sure,
Just,
why not? Yeah.
Leaping out.
You can leap out if you want and hook onto it with your cane.
Yeah.
Okay, sure. We'll do that.
Can I use the dex that I just rolled on accident?
You son of a bitch. If it was high, you wouldn't roll it. You wouldn't use it. But I'll let it go because we're near the end.
No, I totally would have.
But you run, and like John McClane leaping off the Nakatomi Tower, in Die Hard, you're just reaching out with it, and just right as behind you, erupting like a volcano, is the rooftop as these lobster claws jump up out, and this creature is standing on top, looking around. Right as the apartment begins to start tilting away from the crane towards the Bohemian building. Dieter, you begin to climb down, seemingly safe. The rest of you have a 20-foot drop. The apartment's about to tilt over. What do y'all want to do? You look down. There's some water down there.
Jump into the water.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right.
And just start swimming.
Okay, so you all hop down to the water. All of you go ahead and roll a d6, those of you who jumped into the water.
Shit.
I want to see who misses.
Wait, what happened with me? Am I dying?
Chuffy, she snuck up and she threw a tapestry on top of you, which managed to it kind of ignored you at that point.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You're jumping in the water with us.
Yeah, can
Okay.
I drag him with me? or with Derek or whoever rolled the best.
One of you probably puts him under like kind of under your armpit, and you're like, "Here we go!" Rah! And you jump down as best you can. I did it backwards. 6s are usually bad, but tonight I've been doing 1s the other way around. So none of you rolled 1s, so all of you managed to splash into the water. One of you, who rolled lowest, we'll say that was Viltra. You land on top of something, and it kind of thrashes around. It's some sort of reptilian, scaly-like thing, but it seems to be so startled by the fact that something just fell on top of it that it quickly darts away. You manage to climb up out of the canals. You are underneath a collapsing building. You're looking around at the stilts, and they're starting to fold in on each other. There is an electric fence that you're stuck on. You look up, and you can see there's old Dieter just doing some monkey bars, just coming all the way down the crane to the construction site. You can see that the building's starting to tilt westwardly towards the Bohemian building. What do you want to do? There's an electrical fence in front of you.
Seems like all we have to do is wait for the building to fall on top of the fence and then climb across the rubble.
You're likely
We
going
just have to get out of the way.
You're likely
let's
going
get
to.
out of the way.
You're likely going. Yeah, you just need to get out of the way. But the problem is that you're kind of trapped on the property still.
Since it's falling westernly, can we run easternly?
You can
Or
run
like
as
north
far
or
as
south,
you can.
like-
Okay.
yeah.
All right. So you can run as far as you can to the southeast corner. Go. Everybody roll a d6. No one roll a 6. Or I mean a 1, excuse me, because we're doing 1s. I screwed it up in the beginning. Simo, some stray piece of a beam just comes falling down and catches you, whacking you in the head, while you're kind of all huddling as close as you can to the fence in the southeast corner as you can without it actually touching. A bunch of the union workers over there like, what are you all doing? Oh, now we gotta go and work on that construction site too. We ain't gonna work on there. We want better hours, better pay, better conditions, etc., etc., etc. So you're gonna go ahead and you're gonna take 2 points of damage, Simo.
No.
I assume I just die because I couldn't recover between any of that.
You can recover your HP. HP will say like you're waiting long enough to get some HP back. Yeah, does that put you into strength?
Okay. No, that just puts me to 2 HP.
Okay, so you see, he just gets conked on the head, and he falls,
My
and he kind of falls to the
goodness.
ground, and this whole structure just collapses into the Bohemian building. This huge hulking monstrosity is riding it down like Teen Wolf on top of a freaking van, and then just gets down, looks around, bleh, and just begins to start running westernly towards all these other buildings as this big ass kaiju type creature is loose now in the Painted Tongues Borough. With the building kind of collapsing on the fence, you can see that the fence on the western side collapses, and the electricity, the hum of it, begins to fade as it kind of took out whatever circuitry, and you're easily able to climb over top, meet Dieter over by the union workers, the human unionists, and
It's time to bounce.
and all of you head back to the corner as far as you can, away from this massive kaiju monster that is now loose on the streets.
How did you guys fare?
And I
Holy crap.
think we'll go ahead and end it there. It was a 3-hour stream, sorry, but
Thank God I've been working
still
on my
fun.
lat muscles lately.
Too much fun. So that's where we're gonna end it.
Wow.
We will come back at some point, I hope, and pick up these characters and see what you guys do next. How you will try to sell this stuff, patchy thing, etc. Anybody get a scar tonight at all?
I got the head thing early on.
Right. So assuming we're gonna actually Bastion. It says in the rules, make it in game. There's no like easy downtime stuff. All of it's the game when you're in Bastion. Bastion's a serious town. Bad things can happen. You
The
just
only time you get a scar is if you go perfect zero.
perfect
right?
zero.
Which I did, yeah.
All right, so that is the end of this particular adventure. I was calling it Monstrosities of Surrealism.
Yes, indeed.
That was very cool.
So that is this wonderful little game. I really like this game. I like the simplicity of it.
Yeah, I like
It's
the combat
quick.
in this game. It's like
Very quick.
a couple
So
rounds. It's like boom.
fast.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah, we play some other games that combat can get extended pretty long, and that can be fun too at times. But it's nice to have that like kind of quickness.
And, there's not little. I'm also just basing this off of Grim and Perilous. There's not all these little tiny things you got to constantly do, like the chase stuff. It's just kind of like do what you want to do, and
Yeah.
if there's a fight, just get through it. It's more. I think it's more RP based.
Yeah, it's definitely. I mean, like one of the cool things I liked about the system is that there's a lot of like principles, like the idea of like this is the intention, and sometimes when like you get into arguments about RPGs online, there's like rules as written, like rules as intended. And so I feel like the principles are more like trying to approach the idea of intent. Like, what are you intending to do? There's probably a couple mechanical things that I might have screwed up, initiative maybe here or there, but for the most part, I don't really think we did anything too crazy. But yeah, like, and there's other places to explore. So my plan, if it's cool with everybody, is that in between our Mutant Year Zero weeks, when Logan, one of our other players, is working because he's a nurse and doesn't always have time to play with us, and we don't want to play without him, let's pop back into Electric Bastionland.
Yeah, let's do it.
Because there's cool
I'm down.
places to explore. All of you actually survived.
Also, Derek's close, slowly being enveloped by the red sun.
Right?
I feel
The
like
sun's setting over here, boys and
I'm
girls.
I'm worried.
Falling lower into
I
hell.
think he's quite literally melting to death. We're back to the devil thing. All right, so let's close the stream down. That was a ton of fun. Hopefully, if anybody was watching, you're enjoying it, and if anybody catches this later, you enjoy it. If you want to check out Electric Bastionland, go to bastionland.com. This is not sponsored or anything. This is just me playing games that I think are cool. That's all I'm doing here on this channel. And so check it out. You can get the PDF, and I think they still got some physical copies as well. So you can take a look at it. Pretty simple game, super easy to get into. Honestly, like 30
The art
seconds
is gorgeous.
Oh man, there's some cool art in here. Let me credit the artist properly because I don't have it off the top of my head. The artist is the illustration Alex Sorensen. I'm assuming. I mean, there's just so many different character arts for all the different failed careers, and there's this wonderful collage of all the character art on like page 2, like the interior cover, and of all the different failed careers. I just grabbed a couple for you guys just for us to use. But yeah, I'm a big fan of it. I'm a big fan of this game. There's been some really cool RPGs I've been able to play this year between this game and between Heart. And interestingly enough, Heart, the game that we play on Mondays, is by Rowan, Rook, and Deckard. And that company also consulted on this. I don't know how much, but they're in the credits. They're right there. So take a look at this game. It's really, really fun, super easy to get into, and lots of fun little adventures. So we're going to play more of this on the channel over the coming weeks and months.
Come join us on Mondays. We play Heart.
And check out the podcast. Check out the podcast Mondays, anywhere you get podcasts. Just look for Adventures in Lollygagging. That's one of our Zweihander games. Heart, Monday night on this channel, twitch.tv/lollygaggers. Melissa and I play that. Awesome game. Then Wednesdays, Justin and I do the Lollygaggers podcast. Search for that wherever you get podcasts. You can do a little talk show. We've got tons of episodes. We're closing in on 100 episodes for that podcast and 50 episodes for the Adventures in Lollygagging podcast. And then Thursdays over on twitch.tv/ZweihanderRPG, we play another Zweihander game. And then usually we play Mutant Year Zeros on either Friday or Saturday, but then on our off weeks, we're probably going to start playing some of this. So there we go. Lots of different games to play. So have a good night, everybody. Thanks for indulging me, the 5 of you. I appreciate it. A lot of fun. So
That was super
fun.
fun. Thanks
Cool.
for running it for us.
awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Awesome. Great. Glad you guys liked it. So good night, those who are watching, and thank you for those who watch this on VOD or YouTube.